All right, let's do it live on a First Friday miracle edition of the Screaming Idiots Show. Welcome back in, everybody. Hope you've had a good week. Preston, I'm surprised that you were able to get back in here because on the last episode with Chris Hollywood, Tyler Heidi said you're fired and he's taking your spot. So I thought we had got the locks changed. I thought we had got the locks changed, but
everybody would miss me too much if that was the case.
Hey, you know,
that's
you
true.
are a popular guy. You are a popular guy. So
yeah, we decided to let you back in because your face is already on the shirt.
Yeah, we spent too much money on the shirts.
That is true.
So speaking of which, hey, if you want any shirts, reach out to us and let us know. Bro, I'm the ultimate plug. You know, I plug all the shit. Follow us
He is the butt plug of the Screaming Idiots Show.
Follow us on Facebook.
Can we get
Instagram.
like 3 minutes into an episode without like
Something being
sexual?
gay?
There needs to be, it's not even relief at the beginning, but comedic relief at the beginning of every show.
Oh, I got really well. As far as this is into the show, it's about how long that any of us would ever last. So I mean, that's pretty accurate. So
That's only round one. All right.
How the hell are you?
So glad to have Preston back. He had some prior obligations last week, so glad to have him back.
I try to act busy, but really I just had a date with friends.
It's all good. It's all good. You only missed the biggest guest we've ever had.
It's all cool.
It's all good.
It's cool.
I love hearing the stories.
So it's again, speaking of that, another thank you to Chris Hollywood and our friend Tyler Heidi for coming back as well and getting that interview set up. Having a legitimate celebrity, a legit rock star on the show is kind of like, it might not be that for the viewers or the listeners, but for us it was like oh, we made it type thing. Like,
well, we've been talking about how that's our goal.
Yeah, it's to interview people like Chris.
People like him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, without having done any kind of research prior to the episode and me not knowing fucking people's names and not having really gotten into the Black Veil Brides very much back in the day, like I really didn't know who I had invited to my garage. And then the stories start flowing. I was like, oh,
it's happening.
I feel a
It
little
is happening.
I feel a little out of my league to
was-
have these conversations.
It was intimidating at first, and luckily I think I have good enough people skills that I was able to navigate it without too much. Holy shit, I'm talking to a legitimate rock star right now. I mean, dude's like, yeah, well, when I was living with Danny Warsnop, and I'm like, huh? Well, and then I got a call from Tim Lambesis, and I was modeling for his clothing line. I'm like, huh? It was a lot talking about, how he's friends with, Chris Motionless from Motionless in White. And I'm like, bro, like I had to take a breath every now and then. So it was
pretty awesome.
It was awesome. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. If you're just jumping into the show and you're listening to this episode, which is, I guess, the penultimate episode of season 4, we'll have one more after this and have an awesome guest for the season finale. If you haven't checked out,
season yet has to
oh,
be.
absolutely. I mean, my God, Jay and Steve to kick it
Especially
off.
because I wasn't on the last show.
Bro, we'd have had 6 motherfuckers on this couch. We'd have
and
been sitting on
I
each
thought
other's
about it,
laps.
I'm like, dude, we'd turn into a Pornhub couch and everything else. This shit ain't fucking gonna, it ain't gonna work. Fucking casting couch over
That's
here.
what it is. We just
Somebody
got
called it that already.
we got
Didn't
some clean
Steve
sheets.
from Sour
Look,
Blood call it that.
y'all don't know what I do when you guys leave.
That's always,
right.
well, there's always a different arrangement on the couch every time I come in here, so I wonder. But
Hey man, you got to pay the bills somehow.
you got to pay
As
the
long
bills
as they
somehow.
don't look fat in the dress.
Don't
man.
look fat in the dress.
Somehow.
Don't be fat in the dress.
If you had too many bourbons, they might.
We do tend to do that here on this show. So
Speaking of which, what are we drinking tonight, fellas?
we're finishing off the Heaven's Door. What are you drinking?
I got a regular Bullet.
That's just a classic.
Yeah,
Can't go
it's
wrong
good.
with it. So when I finish this, that's what I'll be having. So
I guess that's what I'll go for.
yeah.
It's
Again,
solid.
if you haven't listened to the Chris Hollywood episode, make sure you go back one episode previous to this and check that out. Can't miss it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Best season ever. We just keep getting better and better. And I think a lot of it has to do with the quality of people that we get on this show. Just as, in general, great human beings with great stories, great, journeys to talk about musically, personally, and so many listeners are able to relate to that. And without our guests as well as you listeners, none of this would be possible. This growth wouldn't be possible. So again, thank you to each and every one of our guests. Thank you to each and every one of our listeners all across the country and all across the world. You guys and gals are the best. So
yeah, and I think there's, as of late, I've realized there's some interest building.
yeah,
You know?
I think so.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of it comes from the consistency.
Of us,
That's-
like our show.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's ironic you said that because I watched a quick little fucking Facebook reel the other day, and I think it might have been Simon Sinek or whoever that guy is.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
And he was talking about consistent. It was related to consistency, and of course he related it to working out. But he's like, you don't get the results you
I
want
know
from
what
working out
video-
for 3.5 hours.
I know what
You
video
get the
you're talking
results
about.
that you want from working out for 30 minutes a day every day.
Right.
And I think a big piece that we have, and I hope the listeners have noticed, is we have truly strived. And I know there's, especially on my end, already obligations that have been there, but we have truly strived for consistency with this show. One, because we enjoyed sitting down and having a drink and doing this. But two is we want to put a quality product out there, and that's been at the forefront of our minds this whole time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. I did forget to mention, I've been trying to stay on this trend of mentioning the recording date. As I mentioned, it is a First Friday, which in Ohio we call Wednesday, First Friday. Shout out, Bo Bishop.
Shout out, Bo.
So we are acting accordingly, Mr. Bishop. It is Wednesday, August 9th. So again, just trying to keep with letting everybody know what day we're actually recording. And you're like, what the hell? It's September 22nd. Why are they talking about this? That happened a month ago. Well, this is why. So, but yeah.
Who want to give me a skinny?
I got you. I'm closer. The consistency piece.
Closer. The Neo song.
Oh, Neo's my dog.
Neo's in some shit right now.
No, he's
Damn,
not.
man.
Neo's good.
I love you, Neo.
Neo's
I'll
golden.
stand with you, Neo.
Stand with you, Neo. What the?
Sorry.
Quit trying to cut your kid's dick off.
I have no idea what we're talking about. Who the fuck is Neo?
He's a hip hop. He's an R&B guy.
R&B.
Yeah.
My favorite R&B artist of all time is supposedly getting canceled right now for saying
He's absolutely not though.
for regardless.
He basically said, "Quit trying to cut your kids' dicks off."
Yeah. And he's halfway getting canceled or something. I don't know.
Well,
And
the
these-
one side's canceling.
Yeah.
him.
And
Yeah.
the people trying to cancel him were probably still supporting that one fucking douchebag that admitted on a song that he was pissing on underage women, like
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
guy.
He's like a well documented piece of shit. So, but anyways,
Hey,
But they weren't
Ignition's
trying
a-
to cancel him.
Hey, Ignition's a banger. though.
Ignition. It's the remix to Ignition. I'm hot and fresh out the kitchen. That is a banger. He's an absolute piece of shit. But if that comes on, I'm like,
I honestly
bro,
don't,
what's
man.
his name? The Return of the Mac. What the fuck's that guy's name?
Oh, shit.
He
you
was a
asked me too
genuine piece of
fast.
shit too. But
Is he really?
Oh yeah, motherfucker's
know,
been
that's-
to prison more times than.
I don't know.
But people still listen to anything produced by Suge Knight, and he's like killed Tupac. Shit, so. But anyways, so yeah, the consistency piece. When we got on the schedule that we were able to get on after season 2, we have stuck to that as far as release dates and all that. So this is our next to last episode of season 4. Then there'll be the last. Then there's a week break, and then the following week, so 2 weeks after the last episode of the season, is when the next season drops on Patreon. Which, if you're not a subscriber to Patreon and you want to get early access to
It's
each and
getting
every
hot and
episode,
heavy,
it
people.
is, man. It is. We're getting more and more, and I'm super thankful for that. Hop on that Patreon, search the Screaming Idiots Show. That 2 week period after, or second week after the last episode of the previous season airs, it all comes out on Patreon, and then in another week we start the general release, and we have stuck to that. The only changes we made is, and that was my decision, I moved release dates from Friday back to Wednesday, and I saw what I wanted to see, which was a bump in downloads, because it makes, and we'll get to music very soon, folks, don't worry. But we're just talking a little
we want
business
you to be
and
a
stuff.
part of our thought
Yeah,
process.
absolutely,
with us,
absolutely.
you know?
So, like, think you as the listener or the viewer sitting out there, when you think about Friday, yes, most of us still have to work on Friday. Some of us work on Saturday, Sundays. But if you think of a traditional work week, Friday is kind of the day where you're just trying to get shit done, grind it out, and be done for the weekend, right?
Or it's a little more relaxed, and you're focused. If you're like us, you're focused
on your
new
family
music,
or new music. New music
that day. You're not listening to podcasts as much.
We can't be competing with Polaris.
No. Monuments taught us that.
Yeah. Well, and I believe this has been explained before, but the whole thought process in the Patreon side of things and the way we have structured the release of this podcast is, you all probably watch Netflix.
Yep.
You all probably binge watch seasons of your favorite show.
I'm back on American Horror Story now.
Okay. I don't watch TV, but some people, they binge watch, like you had said.
Sports on TV.
I watch YouTube and fucking sports, and that's about it. But the thought process was, if you enjoy this enough, and if we do a good enough job, you're going to want to binge these conversations and these episodes that we have. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that is the case. And for a few that it has been, and just so you guys understand our thought process and how we're wanting to build this show.
Yeah.
To where if it seems a little unorthodox in release dates and stuff like that, you know why.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole Wednesday thing, when I actually did a poll back when I still had the pages.
And shout out to Tyler, because he came up with that idea, right?
The release schedule was his idea. Yeah, absolutely. When I ran that poll on our then Twitter page, and I did like a range of Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday to Thursday, Friday to Sunday, and the majority of votes was for that Wednesday to Thursday range. And then I started thinking about, what days of the week do my favorite pods release that only do once a week releases? Mm-hmm. And they're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when all of I'm like, okay, none of them are Friday, except like Bishop and Friends, like that's
every day
a daily show.
Yeah.
All of my and that's a radio show for those who don't know. So they're on the radio every day, and their podcast comes out every day. So I thought, well, that makes sense, because that's the middle of the work week. You're grinding through work. There's typically not new music getting released on a Wednesday. You're trying to grind through your week.
A little bit of an escape.
And if we can provide that escape in the middle on hump day, on First Friday, as we call it here, to get you through that get over the hump and get you closer to the weekend, that's what I hope that we're able to do. So, Tyler, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, and we're big fans of Pat McAfee's show.
Yes.
And he talks about on his show, like, our goal from the get-go with this was to be that, which his show is 3 hours? But
I think so,
is to be that escape.
Hey, we have some 3-hour shows.
Yeah, is to be that escape from the normal, mundane, day-to-day shit, and he's done a great job with that.
Absolutely.
And so many others have. But that's been the goal all along.
Tyler?
Yeah, I think for me the big influence for that idea was just myself. I dread starting a new series, because as soon as I start it, I got to get to the end.
Yeah.
I got to get all the way through it, and I got to finish that shit.
That's why I don't watch TV.
It'll do it to you, bro.
Because I get sucked in on TV shows, bro, and I get so fucking lazy.
I got sucked back in on a show I've seen 2 or 3 times before. So
yeah, and it's like, I know that I'm not the only person out there that's like that. Otherwise, Netflix wouldn't have started doing things the way they do it. And Kyler and I was having a conversation around the potential of starting a Patreon and how would we get people there. And I was like, well, we don't have enough time to record stuff to put out on Apple Podcast, and then a bunch of separate stuff for Patreon to get people interested in that. And I don't think it's right to just take snippets and put it out to the public, and you only get the full episode if you subscribe.
Because we're not chasing a bag.
So it's like, let's just take advantage of the weakness of people. You listen to one episode and you get hooked. It's I kind of want to listen to the rest of the season.
The reason that idea came to fruition is because we're those weak people.
I'm weak as fuck.
That when I catch on to something that I'm like, wow, I really fucking love this. I need more, and I need more now. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get more now. Bro, it's like, we don't have to think of it in terms of a bingeable show. Do you know how fucking juiced Preston and I are for football season to start?
Oh, my
And once
God.
it starts, I don't care how shitty the games are, I'm watching it. It's on.
Yep.
I'm watching the game. College, NFL, don't matter. I'm watching it, and I'm locked in. So I want more and more and more, and that's why I love that there's literally football on basically every day of the week, because I can, for the entire fall and into wintertime, I can watch football every day.
Yep.
So it doesn't just apply to TV shows. And in this format, it's a podcast. So it's all tapping into that instantaneous society of, I love this, I need more of it, and I need more of it now.
Yeah, and I would say the other piece of it was trying to figure out how to be consistent, because that first season, as we were just getting a feel for things, it was like, if we want to release this every Friday, then we got to try to get in here early in the week so that we can record it. And
Get the video
I got to
editing
make
done.
sure that I can mix the audio with enough time for Kyler to do the video and have it ready for Friday.
Yeah. And that was just a lot on us, as
There
we're not
would-
doing this full time.
We would not be able to release episodes consistently with that kind of format. Whereas this, it's like,
Yeah, and trying
we're
to plan.
recording on a fucking Wednesday.
Yeah, imagine
we're
trying
doing it
to
on a
line up the
Sunday.
caliber of guests that we have if we were still doing it that way.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
You
be
know,
able to
there's
do
no
it.
way that we would have been able to get
Right.
Chris Hollywood on a week's notice, or
Yeah.
you know, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who our next guest is, but you guys will really enjoy. You know, somebody like that. Trying to get somebody like that
Yep.
lined up in a week's notice. It took us a while to get that set up just because of conflicting schedules. I mean, it's taken a month to get that lined up.
Yeah, and it all goes back to, I mean, these are several conversations we've had on this show, but it
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of the conversation we had with Brad and Justin about the advice they were giving local artists and stuff, and is, we're not trying to skimp anything here.
No.
Like, we're as much as we can, we're all in on this thing. And we're trying to do it the best we possibly can, as structured as we possibly can. Of course, things come up,
Sure.
but it's, I mean, we're trying to build something here.
Yeah,
people, you know?
absolutely. And we want all of you on this train with us, so we can continue to build this platform, and we get more Chris Hollywoods in here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the goal. And we never, and we'll get to this later in the show, we're never going to lose our love and focus on local music, because I got a local band to talk, or not local to us, but an up and coming band. You know, we never want to lose that at all. So it's not like we're going to get away from interviewing local bands or things like that. But the more high profile musicians and music industry folks that we can get on here, the more this train gets steam, the more steam this train gets, I mean. And it reaches more ears, and more people jump on board, and we become that release for more and more and more people. That escape, as Preston refers to all the time, and that's the perfect way to put it. We want to be that escape, that related. We want to be family with the rest of the metalheads out there. So
And reach out to us, because everyone
Yeah,
that has,
we
like,
want y'all to reach out.
we're not
Absolutely.
stuck up.
no,
But
no,
I do want to bring that binge factor back to music real quick.
absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Stop releasing half your fucking album.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jesus
Singles.
Christ.
Yeah,
Fucking
stop
holding
it.
absence. Come on, y'all. I love y'all, but
I do
you're
too.
fucking
Great
up.
music.
Like, I just want the whole album. Just give me the whole fucking. I
I'm
will
sick.
subscribe to your Patreon.
Movements. What are you doing?
What are you
I love
doing?
you. I love
Ah!
you, but I hate you.
Stop it! I'm
Yeah.
gonna be sick of those 5 songs before the rest of the album drops, and then I'm not gonna enjoy listening
Listen,
through the
I
I
album.
won't listen to the album.
I think the absolute.
I mean, I will, but you know what I mean.
I think the absolute maximum number of singles for an album, and again, it depends on songs on the record, is 3.
3, yes.
That is the
if
absolute
it's 10
maximum.
or more songs,
If it's a 20-song album, 5 songs, that's cool, bro.
5's
Yeah.
cool on a 20. Yeah, that's
But
fair.
we're-
But
what
ain't
are we-
nobody doing that.
what
bro-
are we seeing? Except for Post, I think his was 17. But I think what are we seeing? 10 to 15 right
in
now.
metal, in
Yeah,
metal. In
yeah.
country, it's like 30. So,
Yeah, it's weird right now.
well,
Yeah,
like,
they just-
but like if you think about Morgan Wallen, I think he only released like 3 or 4 singles off a 30-song record.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And it was like,
imagine the hype that brought.
bro, when his album dropped, I was in Florida at the time. I was on vacation. I was down at my in-laws' house in Florida. And that album dropped the second our plane landed in Florida. that whole week I listened to that whole, because it was like, it took me the whole week to get through the whole album because there was 30 fucking songs.
Yeah.
And they're all bangers.
Yeah, they were
But
good.
I'm like, oh my God, you know? So, but yeah, metal, it's 10 to 15 max.
Which
But
is
then
perfect
you have
to me.
okay, so you sent that bleed from within
Yeah.
song coming out. They're doing a deluxe record.
Yep.
You see a lot of that in metal right
Devil
now.
Wears Prada did it
Yep.
a few months ago.
Era did it. Bullet
Devil
did
Wears
it with
Prada.
their newest album.
Who else?
I see almost every album out there now has a deluxe version.
And it's usually another 3 to 4 songs
Yeah,
that
3 to
didn't make the original
Killswitch
cut.
did it on
Killswitch did it,
Atonement.
yeah, Atonement Side
Yeah,
B. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's been a lot
Yep.
of that lately. And
No Devotion's a jam.
that whole fucking Atonement record is insane. So
Sorry, I'm
I
Get it?
like, dude, I do it all the time. Should have been dead.
I'm so glad you did
Oh,
that.
hold on.
So
I
glad you
can't talk
did
about
that.
it.
Hey, I'm a simp.
I was. Did
Get that meme too?
Oh, he sent that to you guys. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man.
Bro, and you know what I said back to him when he sent me that? Should have been. I fucking love it. Tell him what the meme is.
So,
Tyler
our buddy
Heide.
Tyler Heide, shout out Tyler.
Oh, I got so fucking hyped this morning. He said that, and I
Bro.
was like, yeah.
He said,
I'm literally taking a shit,
So
and my
Tyler-
kids are like, what is going on, Dad? I'm like, shut up.
So Tyler had sent a meme this morning, and it's becoming a point with Tyler, and I'm loving it, that he either asks me for new music in the morning when he's on like his morning drive, or it's just kind of a thing now where, you know, we're sending music back and forth. Well, he sends a meme this morning, and the top of it says, "Yeah, I'm a simp," and it's got SIMP beside it, and it said "super into my own prison," and then performed by Creed off their 6-time platinum debut album of the same name.
I laughed so hard I thought I was going to throw up. I fucking lost my... I'm so glad he sent it to you guys, too. I thought
God.
he just sent it to me because I'm the one that's
I was
always singing
dying.
it. But
I
goddamn.
was dying.
Oh,
bro.
fuck. I fucking love Creed, and they're back together. Let's go. Absolute fucking legends. In Scott Stapp, we trust. I don't even remember what the fuck we were just talking about. What were we just talking about?
Something about
Movements and holding absence.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well,
putting
deluxe
five-
records.
Well, yeah,
And-
we switched to
Yeah,
deluxe.
I mean, I don't hate the deluxe record thing. But I do. I'm with you. I've always been with you guys on the stop releasing half the album as singles.
Bro, it just
Currents did it.
kills
or no,
it,
no,
bro.
no, they didn't. They only put 3 singles
So
out.
Alone, Remember Me,
And Vengeance.
Vengeance. The
That's
Death
it.
We Seek. I know that's the album name. Wasn't that a song?
No, well, it's a song, but it's not. The,
It wasn't released.
No,
Okay.
it was just
Okay.
the 3 singles. But there are so many bands that As I Lay Dying did it on their record. They put out several, and I'm like,
And
but
I'm sure
them
they're-
I kind of get it because they'd been gone for so
Yeah.
long, and they were dropping this long ass record, and they were building the hype. So I kind of don't hate it as much in that sense. But Polaris is doing 3 singles. That's it for their new record for Fatalism.
They do
That's
everything
great.
perfect, bro.
That's great. That's
They're
fantastic.
perfect.
3, and it's 11 song record. I believe.
11, yep.
So 3 singles,
Perfect.
perfect. So, and they'll probably, so it's August 9th now. Nightmare's been out for what, 2 weeks?
So I would say
End
the
of
week
August?
before it drops. They're
I would
gonna
say,
drop
end
the
of
last
August,
one.
first week of September. So they'll
Well,
probably drop
September 1 is when it drops.
Oh, is it September
Yeah.
1? Holy shit, we're that close?
We're that close.
Fuck.
I meant
yeah,
to send
baby,
that in a
let's
text
go.
message.
For
to
some
you guys
reason, I thought it was
yesterday.
September 11th.
So when are we going to get
Yeah,
a
this one.
new single? off
I
of
would
that?
say the
I
week
would
before
say
it
in
drops.
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Because I think there was a month between Inhumane and Nightmare. So there should be another month.
Yeah, because I
between
remember the Death of
Nightmare
Me. It
and-
was Masochist first, then Landmine,
Yep, and
then
then
Hypermania.
Hypermania.
and it felt like it was a big gap in
I
between.
ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie, man. When Landmine came out,
Bro, it sounds
Yeah,
like a
it's a
fucking shotgun on
game
that song
changer,
going
bro.
off, bro.
I lost my cool.
And Vagabond's better than all 3 of them.
Ooh, ooh, Vagabond's a jam.
So it's Pray
Anyways.
for Rain.
Look,
I just
I came to a realization
Oh.
today. You had mentioned the other day about Sleep Token's Rain.
That I was gonna say that's my
and-
hot take for tonight.
and
So don't
I
talk
was-
about my hot take. But
I
yeah.
was listening to some Boys of Fall today, and they have a song on that album, Rain, that I absolutely
jam.
love.
that whole album is just.
And I think all great metal bands
Have a song called Rain.
have to have a song called Rain, and
Creed has one.
It has to literally change your life.
Creed has a song called Rain.
They do.
I feel it's gonna rain
Like this for days.
So let it come down and wash everything away. I hope that tomorrow.
Look at me! Yeah.
Woo, Scotty.
You're right. I think every successful metal band has
Rain,
Dude,
Gravity.
So does Issues.
Yeah,
They have
that's
a song
a
called
jam.
Why the hell is it raining so much?
Yeah, that
that's a
song
good
is
jam.
vibey
That's a
as hell.
jam.
Yep.
Yes, so
So
many
many
metal
jams.
metal bands have a song called Gravity. That's another
Gravity's
one. Yeah.
one.
Gravity's another one. Which, let's be honest, I think that Novelist has the best.
Yes.
Gravity.
Novelist has the best
Oh,
Gravity.
God.
Papa Roach
Wage
has-
Wars is good.
Papa Roach has a song called Gravity.
Wage Wars Gravity's good. Papa
quite a few.
Roach.
I was
didn't know
listening
that.
to,
I didn't know Papa-
Novelist today.
You did say you were listening to Novelist today.
And I have to say, Novelist is one of these bands that for some reason I don't revisit too frequently.
I don't either
But
because
when
I'm
I
pissed.
do, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
Bro, it's just so tasteful.
It's just.
I came to the realization that like they are
There's another hot take.
guitar wise, like musically.
Please don't hit on my hot take.
Fuck you.
Which one?
You sparked one for me.
Musically, they were
They are.
top
Were.
like 5 metal bands out
absolutely.
there.
Bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Kyler were fucking obsessed for about 3.5 years.
And I don't think we have talked about them, but
Nah,
like
about 5 probably.
they
Bro, it was a long
are.
time. It was them and Issues. That was it.
Yeah, it was.
That's all there was.
Oh, dude, they
It was
because
it was
amazing.
before we discovered Polaris.
Yes, because Jeremy had told us about Novelists
Yep.
with
Jeremy
Periphery.
also told us about After the Burial, Dayseeker.
Yep.
Like there was so many, and back then Dayseeker was still metalcore.
Yeah. It was like The World Was Quiet and all those songs.
No. It was before that. It was,
Was it really?
Vultures and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think Novelist really gets talked about enough.
Well, when Mateo
there's a
left,
reason why, yep.
yeah. So when their front
Tell
man
us.
left and joined a band or started a band, whichever one called Salem.
Yep.
They brought a new guy in, and their sound changed to
Alaska.
more.
The front man from Alaska.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he lasted
I
a
know
whole
that band
year,
for
I
some
think. He lasted a whole year, maybe
It,
two.
he wasn't bad. To
No.
me, he wasn't bad.
His vocals
it just,
were really
it
good.
Wasn't
It wasn't
Novelist,
Mateo.
man.
It wasn't Mateo.
And Flo and the rest of the guys, yeah.
And the fact that he
But Flo's solos, I think, were just as good on the new shit as compared to the old shit.
Stop.
Not.
Stop.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Okay,
yeah,
okay. I
you
got
got
you.
it.
But
got
hey,
it.
hey. Here's my
got
question.
it.
If you think about discography, let's think about total discography. Novelist versus
Before we get into that, I think you had.
oh shit.
'Cause-
Did I cut you off?
Well, no, you're good. I just
you were talking, and
I don't want to
thought
take
you
it
were
away
hitting a
from
great
him, but
point,
you're
and
about to
it's
hit on a great
fine.
point.
No,
too.
I just I love that their vocalist when he's doing his clean vocals, the Mateo, right?
Yep, Mateo.
That
That's
was
metal
it.
as fuck.
Days gone by.
He doesn't try to be something he's not.
No.
And I find that there's so many bands out there where like the lead vocalist is trying to be something that they're not, trying to sing outside of their range to a point where like you see them live
You
and they
notice it.
just you know they can't really do that.
And Vent?
Yes, 100%.
Considering when we seen him live.
Well, and
potentially,
I have
And you
heard-
can tell listening to the
I have
record
heard he
that he's
stepped it up.
struggling.
Yeah, even the newest record, which I'm going to hit on here later on. I see what you mean. Yeah,
Like you can tell in the studio, he was pushing his
hurting.
boundaries.
Yeah, yeah, which is good.
Oh, boundaries.
Yeah.
Which-
Let's
But
go.
like, I love that factor, but I love that there's still the screams in there. It is kind of like typical metalcore in the sense that it's
But then
like
they have
one
some
scream.
jazzy parts, bro.
But
Bro, they got a
musically-
saxophone in the
Yeah.
song.
Musically, bro.
So
Oh, they're
tasteful.
so fucking elite.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
Were.
and listen, everybody on their Twitter when they announced that dude from Alaska had left. Everybody's like, I know a guy. Hey,
Yep.
there's a guy out there named Mateo. Hey, they're like, bring Mateo back. Listen, here is my official petition to
Yep.
bring Mateo back. So
Were you were about to hit
I
on something
was
good as well.
curious if you think about total discography start to finish. Landmark, both French bands, Landmarks versus Novelists. Which one are you? And we might have done this before. I
we
can't
might have
remember.
talked about it.
I think we had mentioned Landmarks in relation to somebody else, but it wasn't. I think we were talking about if Landmarks were to be on a show with Norma Jean and somebody else. I think is what it was.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know that we went too deep, but if you had to pick between Landmarks and Novelists, which
You guys
one
are
would
gonna
you?
think I'm crazy
Novelist.
You're gonna pick Landmarks, aren't you?
because the last one or two albums for Novelists just killed
Bro,
them
Lost
for
in
me.
a Wave was
Oh my god, that's the Lost in a Wave, right? Yeah, that's the song that you thought
Yeah.
was a hard rock song, and then it went nuts.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that moment.
I'd
I
pick
was not prepared for it.
I'd pick Landmarks too.
Yeah,
And
bro, their last deluxe fucking album
it's a tough,
is legit.
it's tough because of you mentioned how obsessed we were with Novelists. But I remember when Lost in a Wave dropped, I was actually working for I was trucking fertilize at the time. So I'm in a semi 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week when that album dropped. And I had that bitch on repeat.
That
And
album
I wanted to drive a fucking 18-ton truck through a goddamn building because it just made me feel sometimes. Oh,
Yeah,
fuck yeah.
dude.
Yeah. So,
He has. That's a good point to touch on that could probably be pushed later into the show. That I don't want to keep adding topics to what we have, but it is so important for a metal band. A reason some metal bands stand out to me is when the front man has an identity, and what
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
by that, Landmarks, dude, you know who he is.
Yep.
He has so much confidence and swag. I
I'll
hate
never
to
know
use the
his
word
name because
swag.
I'm terrible at names, but
I don't
know who
either,
that
but
is.
Greyhaven singer.
Chris
it's just
from
like,
Like Moths to Flames,
yeah,
bro.
it's like they are not that they're the face of the band, but there's a certain identity that comes with it. Chris Motionless.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just
Jamie,
so important.
Jamie.
Jamie, yes, it's so important.
listen,
man.
there's a couple things that you need to remember when you listen to this show. There's a couple things, right? One
You
is
don't
a man
dick
has to
ride.
know when
Oh.
he's wrong, and a man has to, know his limitations. Don't be fat in the dress. And if you don't bounce,
Chris will find you.
Chris will find you.
Absolutely. And
I
if,
hope he listens to one of our
I do
episodes.
too.
if you do
Just-
play
And
a
he just
guitar,
shows up to the garage like, I know you didn't bounce at that last show, bitch.
and
I
if,
seen
if-
y'all in your goofy ass
if you
shirts.
do play a
y'all
guitar-
weren't bouncing. Jesus.
if you do play a guitar or you do play a piano or anything that has real notes, you have to make sure you are able to play the notes BDSM. You have to. You have to.
Yep, that's a new. We need to just come up with a new tune.
BDSM. Hashtag BDSM.
Yeah, like you got Dad Gad. We're
Yep.
gonna have BDSM, bro. We're gonna tune Tyler's bass to BDSM.
Yes.
What's S&M? You'll find out.
It's that new.
It's that new.
It's that porn song.
It's that shit I'm gonna slap you around with.
And if you don't bounce, I'm telling you, there's certain things on this show that listeners will like message me or us on social media and be like they're cracking up about, and I can't wait for people to go through season 4 and hear the. If you don't bounce, Chris will find you, and the don't be fat in the dress
Yep.
thing. And remember, what we mean by don't be fat in the dress is don't fuck it up. Okay, don't release 5 singles off a 10-song
Yes.
record.
Boom!
Don't
Stop
be fat in
doing
the
that.
dress. Okay, don't be fat in the dress. So
did you say Novelist?
would you
Yeah.
pick Novelist? Okay, that's fair.
Have you listened to the last album?
I have.
There is
Novelist FR?
Yeah.
Once they changed it? Okay.
they changed the name.
I
of
didn't-
Mateo,
I didn't
but
love
still
it.
there.
Okay.
I didn't love it, but
It's not horrible.
everything.
Dude, there's so many bands that do that. Think about like
Let's see, I
Kublai
got
Khan TX, like they're from Texas.
Oh, I
Like
didn't know that's at the end of their name.
Kublai
Okay.
Khan TX is what their name is officially. Currents' Twitter is Current CT Connecticut. Like
That's
there's a
right.
lot
Yeah,
of
that's
bands
true, yeah.
that do that. Like
Yep.
we want you to fucking know where we're from. Which
That's
hey
cool.
man,
That's
I'll be
cool
repping
shit.
my shit too,
Hell
man.
yeah.
So this is what I have from Novelist on
I can't breathe. I'm so fucking.
Souvenirs,
Stank face
which
immediately.
is
Souvenirs
what
is
I
fucking
jammed.
incredible,
Souvenirs,
bro.
I listened to that
Monochrome.
album
Bro.
twice,
Oh, that's
today.
the one.
and then I have
Noir.
Yeah,
Noir, yes.
How about
I haven't listened
Deep
to
Blue?
that as much, but
Strange
then
Yourself?
The TSIS Levi,
Yep.
however the fuck you
5:12
pronounce
a.m. if you want to slow it down a bit.
Andreas
Oh my God.
on Terrace?
On
that. Oh,
Anatares.
Anatares.
Yeah, something like that.
but I
holy
do
shit.
have a band later on.
That's
I
going to
bring
relate to
up
one of my hot takes
that,
later, so perfect.
So before we get into all that, I do.
Did we cut you off just now? You were
No,
saying-
you're fine.
okay.
Just a band I want to bring up. You know who they are. You've been listening to them too, but I don't think we've really talked about them on this show much. But let's continue.
You got that safe, so you know who you need to talk about.
Yep.
I'm talking about them if it's the same fucking
Okay.
band.
Well,
Bitch.
I talked about this in the chat today, and you got pissed off at me, and I said cry about it. So,
What was the response? Did you like that?
did you see our the story I put on our Facebook and Instagrams today? You did.
Oh, bro, check it,
Bro, what
It's
the f-
perfect.
Get
It's
on
perfect.
our fucking Facebook or Instagram and look at the story I put on there. Right now, right now. Raggy retard. Oh fuck! I said the R word on the podcast.
View story.
Sound.
We're gonna get fucking copyrighted.
No, it's all good. So I sent this topic in the group chat today, and I'll get to it in just a second. But it pissed Tyler off because he doesn't like picking, right? He doesn't like picking and choosing
Wait.
shit. Hold on, just wait. So I sent this topic in the chat, and Tyler's like, "God damn it, I hate picking." And I said, "Cry about it." And he sent the infamous song "Distance" by Boys of Fall that we've talked about so many times on this show.
Life changing.
So I saw a meme on Facebook of a dude laying in like a flooded street on his back in the rain drinking a beer. And I instantly thought, wow, that's how I feel when I listen to Distance. So I took that picture and put POV, you're listening to Distance, on our fucking story with the song, and Tyler was just losing his shit to that.
Well,
so.
and I'll tell you what, a slight serious note, but also a comedic note. I wasn't in the greatest headspace last week, and I swear if that song would have came on shuffle, it would have saved my fucking life, bro.
It never came on for you?
It never came on.
Damn, Distance always shows up when I need it to. normally. That's weird.
It needs to come in the clutch for me.
So, when you think about, and I did a TikTok on this today, so anybody that follows us on TikTok's already seen this. And by the time you listen to this, that TikTok will be a month old. But anyways, I saw a guy asking metalheads who would they put on their Mount Rushmore of metal. So 4 bands when you think about the Mount Rushmore of metal. And Tyler hates picking people. Preston probably hasn't even thought about it.
You're correct.
So I'm going to go through mine real quick.
All right, time out.
And to verify, this is our own Mount Rushmore, or this is like what we think Mount Rushmore metal is?
You'll get your answer to that when I go through mine.
Okay.
So time out. Is it? Are we going to dive more into like subgenre and say like
Doesn't matter.
Metal.
Doesn't matter.
What you
Metal.
consider
Just
metal.
Metal.
A form of metal.
And you'll get it when I go through mine. So when I think about the Mount Rushmore metal, 4 bands to put on the Mount Rushmore metal. Number 1 is the most obvious, right? It's Metallica, okay? So love them, hate them, somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. No one can deny that they are the most successful and biggest metal band of all time, and arguably the most influential behind maybe Black Sabbath. But 90% of the bands that you listen to today would not exist if it wasn't for Metallica. So that spot goes without saying. In my number 2 slot, and this is in I guess it is in order, but so Metallica is George Washington.
Okay. Okay.
In my 2 slot, my Abraham Lincoln is, and I don't know if that's the actual order, but I'm just saying, my number 2 slot's Pantera. Pantera is not one of my all-time favorite metal bands. I love Pantera, but they're not one of my all-time favorites. But Pantera absolutely threw metal on its back and carried it in the 90s when grunge was taking the world by storm. And Pantera had a guy named Dimebag Darrell. So
who we all know.
Pretty fucking influential guitar player. A lot of people that play guitar today are big Dime fans. So their music carrying metal through the 90s is huge, because without them in 91, 93, dropping all these albums that were super heavy, super metal, in your face, pissed off, fuck you, when Kurt Cobain's talking about something smells like Teen Spirit. So they were kind of carrying the flag for that in the 90s. Here's where I start to get controversial, my 3 and my 4. In my number 3 slot, As I Lay Dying. And when I think about metalcore in the early 2000s and what really rocketed that shit off into mainstream popularity and influenced a lot of bands, I think about As I Lay Dying, because I think about Shadows Are Security, which we've talked about so many times on this show, is arguably the most influential metalcore album of all time. You had a lot of bands.
Probably is. Nick Nocturnal just did a video on it. It probably is.
It probably is. So in my opinion, it is. But I try to stay subjective here. So when you talk about 2005 being the fucking year for metalcore, Shadows Are Security was the best album to come out in 2005. So those guys carried the metalcore flag in the early 2000s and stayed true to the original metalcore roots and stayed heavy and were super innovative, and doing things different than Bullet, doing things different than Killswitch, doing things different than All That Remains. They were different than all of them. They stood out. They were a lion king amongst lionesses, if that makes any sense at all. In my 4 slot, I have A Day to Remember.
Oh.
So like I said, when I get to 3 and 4 is where I get controversial. So when we went in depth on A Day to Remember a few episodes back, and that was on season 3. So A Day to Remember, when I think about them and I think about late 2000s, early 2010s, we talked about how A Day to Remember did such a great job of blending so many genres together and bringing millions of new fans into the metal genre that were pop fans, that were punk fans, that were emo fans. They brought them all together under this one umbrella because they were so good at blending all of those styles and putting them into one song so perfectly. And the fact that they were able to do that and still sustain success to this day, as well as their span of influence, in my opinion, and again, A Day to Remember is not one of my all-time favorite bands. I only have 2 that are my all-time favorites in my Mount Rushmore. But I'm being subjective, and I'm thinking about most important metal bands. A Day to Remember deserves a spot on my Mount Rushmore because of what they have done for the genre in growing it. And that shit cannot be denied. So my Mount Rushmore of metal is Metallica, Pantera, As I Lay Dying, and A Day to Remember. Do you kind of get what we're going for here?
I do.
It really makes you think now, though, doesn't it?
That's awesome.
Because it's and the thing is if I did a Mount Rushmore of like my personal favorite metal bands,
it'd be different.
It'd be completely different.
And that's what I was trying to
decipher. It'd be completely different.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I probably still would have had Metallica and As I Lay Dying. But I probably would have thrown Bullet and Polaris in there too.
Yeah.
I know I would have thrown Polaris in there, but probably Bullet too.
Yeah.
So that would probably, if I was doing a personal, it would be Metallica, As I Lay Dying, Bullet, and Polaris. So, but like I said, in the sense of, hey, being completely neutral, subjective, I think about the 4 most important bands to this genre. And I went 4 different decades,
Yeah,
basically. I went the 80s,
Which is
90s.
a good way to go about
Yeah,
it.
the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s.
Yep.
So
And anybody that watches this on YouTube,
please comment.
Yes,
Yeah,
I want to
who's
know
on-
what you guys think.
we want to know who your Mount Rushmore of metal is. Preston, good call out. Please
Yeah.
leave us a comment. Let us know who's
because
on
there's
your
probably bands we
guaranteed
didn't think of.
guaranteed.
or
And I
something.
took some time before I made
Yeah.
that TikTok today to
Yep.
really think, hey, who is on? And I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to stay subjective, but it took me some time to think about that. So whichever the two of you is more prepared and wants to go first, let me
You need
hear
to
it.
think a little bit.
So when I first seen that, I was thinking more along the lines of like my personal favorite,
Sure,
but
you can give both.
Also a little bit along the lines of like they have to have major influence.
Yes,
And they have to be
or
like,
impact.
They have to be like metal. And
Yes.
so at first I was thinking like, like Moss to Flames, Polaris, probably Slipknot,
That's valid.
and then I thought about even putting maybe like Under Oath in there.
Yep.
Because they were
But-
doing it early.
Switching it up to more along the lines of what you were saying, I would keep Slipknot in there. And
That's valid.
We've had
Yep.
lengthy
Slipknot.
discussion around Slipknot.
We have.
Just so influential.
Who is not one of my favorite bands, but I
Exactly,
respect
but
the
you can't
fuck
exactly
out of 'em.
say
Slipknot.
Yeah.
So back before I was really listening to metal, Slipknot was like my go-to if I wanted to listen to something heavy. Slipknot or Under Oath. That was, back in high school, just hanging out with, Scotty and all them, getting introduced to more metal. Those were the 2 bands that I really gravitated towards. Still wasn't a regular listen, but Slipknot would definitely have to be up there on Mount Rushmore with their weird ass fucking masks and
Hell
shit.
yeah.
Fuck. I don't want to just give the same bands that you did.
If you do, that's okay.
I do think
I mean, he's on the right track.
it's
the thing.
hard to deny Metallica, but I don't want to put them up there as a personal vendetta.
I don't know why the fuck I'm friends with this guy and playing a band with him.
So, for As I Lay Dying, I haven't made it through all of their discography yet.
You're gonna get roasted,
But-
bro.
I did make it through Shadows Are Security and the album after that.
That was
And I
Let the
remember-
Ocean, or, not Let the Ocean.
And I
Take Me.
remember we had this
Remedy.
conversation because I was really pissed off after listening to a bunch of Parkway Drive, and I was like, I can't believe these guys made it big. Their first couple albums were trash. But
An ocean between us.
I'd went over and started digging through As I Lay Dying, and I was like, holy fuck.
Listen.
So
we
it's hard
talked
to
we talked
deny-
about Parkway. Here's Parkway. Here's As I Lay Dying. Let's be
Right.
fair.
It was that conversation.
It's a big
of like,
gap. There's an
why would
ocean
I-
between
Why would
those
I
two
give
bands?
Parkway Drive my
ocean
time
between
when
us.
As I Lay Dying exists?
Yes.
So it's hard to really dispute those first 2. I have a really hard time disputing A Day to Remember. I would probably put them on mine as well.
So you've got
Kind of the same reasons you mentioned, but they are one of my personal favorites.
yeah. So you've got Slipknot, As I Lay Dying, and A Day to Remember so far, right? Or did you put As I Lay Dying on it?
I haven't put them on
Okay.
there
So
yet.
you got Slipknot and A Day to Remember. Okay.
I'm going to throw Norma Jean on that bitch.
Okay.
And
Is that
Not
from like a
because-
longevity standpoint?
it's a couple of things. So I know they're not the most popular or well-known band out there in metal. Nowadays, I think a lot of people know who they are.
I agree.
they just might not like listen to him very much, or kind of like you guys, you really listen to the last like couple albums from him, but the longevity of it, they've been doing it for so damn long, and they've been able to cycle through members and still hit bangers.
I mean, damn near 30 years. That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That don't happen very often.
I hope to God I'm 50 or 70 years old and can say that about myself.
Well, I don't think they're 70 because James
but I'm
Hetfield just
saying
turned 60.
a 30-year run. If
They've been
I'm
doing it for
70
40
years old, I hope the band I'm with that, you know what I mean?
So
I hope I could say the same.
I would
Somebody in the
say
comments is going to be like,
Slipknot,
Motley Crue, bro.
Norma Jean. Day to remember.
You got one more.
Who would be a good fourth?
Please do not take mine, you motherfucker.
Well, you should have went before me, bitch.
Yeah, you should have.
I mean, I asked, but you had.
And I should have explained to you guys beforehand.
No,
what
I'm glad
meant.
that- I'm glad
But I
that-
really wanted to, like, in the
I'm glad,
moment,
yeah.
y'all be like, oh,
It's made me think, I'm
fuck.
glad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wearing the Norma Jean shirt, so I have to put them up there. And then
Good thing you're not wearing a Moths shirt. Because Chris would find you if you didn't put them on there. So I'm afraid that if I didn't put SLA Dying on there, Tim Lambesis would, never mind.
have you suicided?
Yeah, have me Jeffrey Epstein.
He would make a few calls.
I love him so much, but it's an easy joke. I'm sorry.
Mount Rushmore, number 4.
It's a tough, like,
It is. It's really hard.
Because I'm having to kind of put my favoritism aside to an extent. I'm still kind of putting my favorites up there.
that's fine.
But, fuck, dude. Go ahead with yours, and I'll think of mine.
So my number 1 would be Metallica. We've talked about how it's influenced us particularly, but so many others. My number 2 would be Slipknot.
Fair.
You kind of stole that from me. I was thinking that, but
Yeah, they deserve a slot.
they do. My number 3 for me, and I know this isn't personal favorites, but I'm thinking of myself at the time as a listener. For whatever reason, I came across Killswitch before I did As I Lay Dying.
You didn't really get into As I Lay Dying
Yeah,
until...
it was later for whatever reason.
Yeah, for sure. I don't
so
really
it
think
would
I
be
could
Kill
get you into
Switch.
them until I was in college.
No, I mean, I had
Maybe it
heard
was a little before.
Confined when I was in high school, if I'm not mistaken. But it would be Killswitch, just from what they did for metalcore and starting metalcore. Not that they started. I'm sure they were underground bands or whatever else. But Killswitch, and then my number 4, and I've thought about this since you brought it up tonight, not during the chat. And A Day to Remember is a really good one. You make a great point there.
Sure.
But if we're talking metal and how popular it became because of this
I think
band,
I know where you're going.
Breaking Benjamin.
Yep. Figured that's
I
where
wouldn't
you're
really
going.
call them metal, though.
The fuck are they?
I think they're metal.
I consider
They're hard
them
rock,
hard rock.
but it's
I-
fucking metal, bro.
I think they're metal.
Because, like, I would almost throw
he
Deftones
screams,
up
bro.
there.
Well, I think Deftones is a metal band.
Deftones is fucking metal.
But
think
I don't
Deftones
know
is
if
metal.
they're, like, metal.
Bro,
Because
Like,
they don't
there's-
chug.
Like,
They
they,
don't palm
definitely
you.
fall in the classification of new metal, but...
Bro, Mudvayne is metal.
Yeah. Linkin Park is
Linkin
metal.
Park is metal.
I disagree.
Bro, Breaking Benjamin Ben screams.
He screams, like, once in a while. I would consider them hard rock.
I would disagree, but that's fair.
I get it. I do get it.
Like, some of the music sounds metal.
And honestly, you saying that,
we
it's not-
talked about that, but...
Yeah.
It's just metal to me, man.
It's not making me rethink the A Day to Remember pick, but it's like, wow, that is a great.
the influence
I could
that Breaking
very
Benjamin
easily
had, bro.
Breaking Benjamin had a much more musical influence. A Day to Remember did more for the genre in the sense of bringing fans to it.
Yeah.
Because they were straight up metal, like metalcore. That's a metalcore band.
Yeah, I mean, and I know
Tyler,
we
make sure
don't want to
video's
get
still rolling.
in. We're not trying to get into genre talk as we do this because we talked about, even though we always end up in this conversation.
Yeah.
we talk about it pisses us off that we
It
do
does.
get in, but it's like, bro, they're playing in drop B on fucking baritone guitars, and dudes got harsh vocals,
Who you talking about?
good choruses. Breaking Benjamin.
Breaking Benjamin.
It's metal, man.
They're not playing in B, are they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
they
yeah.
play in B a lot.
I thought they were in
Yeah.
C on the earlier stuff.
Some there is, yeah. Yep.
But yeah, baritone, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So,
metal,
it's
bro.
metal. It's
Well, I mean,
metal.
I guess if we're going there,
Bro,
I'm throwing Deftones up there.
That's
as
fair.
my number
That's
two.
Yeah.
fair. I would think they're
Bro, they
again,
carved out
musically
a
so
big
influential.
piece.
And I'm not a Deftones fan at all. I don't really like their music, but I cannot deny their influence at all.
Yeah, because I think we're seeing maybe more of their influential impact nowadays than
It's coming
earlier,
back.
Absolutely.
because
coming back.
you have bands like Mood Ring
Loathe.
and Loathe and
Johnny
even
Booth.
the Johnny Booth song or two that they had a couple
Loathe does
of
absolutely
those
nothing.
and you
Shoegazy
call
parts.
it shoegaze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's called shoegaze.
I never heard it called
If you
that
get into the
before.
YouTube
What's the difference
community,
between
they
a
call it
shoegazy and a
shoegaze.
fugazi?
I don't know
I
what
don't
that
know.
is.
But with that, I would say
Fugazi, fugazi, it's a
Deftones
woozy, it's a
really
wazi.
created
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
form of metal.
Yep.
All right, so
I don't
let's
disagree.
just
But
real
even
quick.
if you go back to like Adrenaline and shit, their first album, like,
Yeah.
bro, that shit was nasty.
real quick,
It's metal, dude.
Yeah,
It's metal,
bro,
bro.
go listen to "Blow Me Away" by Breaking Benjamin. Tell me that's not metal. Go listen to
Sorry,
that
I
and
have
tell.
horrible guitar sounds.
Go
but I
listen to
promise
that
you
and
I
tell
can
me
play
it's
one.
not metal.
You want me to tell you it's not metal, or you want me to lie to you?
Red Cold River. That was like their worst song they ever made, I think.
So, all right, so we've done that. So just real quick, let's run through your personal
Okay.
Mount Rushmore of metal. And I think I kind of gave mine. It would be Metallica, it would be Bullet, As I Lay Dying, and Polaris.
Yeah.
And it's weird that I have almost two of the same bands in the sense of As I Lay Dying
Yeah.
and Bullet, but what those bands, and I've talked about it ad nauseum on this show,
Yeah.
what those two bands have done for me as a guitar player and as just a music fan in general is unrivaled. They did more for me than Metallica did.
Yeah, so
That's a bold statement. Maybe not. But combined, I think they might
it
have.
was
But,
almost, if I were to speak
and
for
Killswitch is
you,
my 3 on that.
It was kinda
As I Lay
like-
Dying, Bullet, Killswitch. And then All That Remains is down here.
they did, if I were to speak for you, because I think we can both relate, bands like that, they did what Metallica did for you all over again.
So here's the thing. There was one Metallica. There was 5 Bullet for My Valentine's. 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trivium, Bullet, All That Remains, Killswitch, As I
Yeah.
Lay Dying. 5. Sorry,
Yeah.
I guess there was 5. 5 of those bands that all I thought at the time did, and we had this conversation the other day where I feel like All That Remains their music doesn't hold up as well as the others for me today.
Yeah.
But back then in high school and all that, bro, those 5 bands were my life.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it. And I dipped my toes into the crabcore scene, Asking Alexandria, Attack,
We Came,
all that shit. We
Roman.
Came, Memphis, all that. I dipped
Yep.
my toes into that. But Pure Obsession, oh man.
Yeah. I
And
would
if
say,
if I had to replace As I Lay Dying or Bullet, replace one of the two, in all fucking honesty, you're gonna be like, what? I would probably replace As I Lay Dying over Bullet. As I Lay Dying's vocals were better. Their vocals were better. I thought that As I Lay Dying wasn't gonna write Tears Don't Fall.
right.
Bullet could write Tears Don't Fall and Confined. You know what a song
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
Confined.
see what you mean.
As I Lay Dying was one gear, baby, and it was rip
Yeah.
your fucking throat out of your neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bullet was going to make you cry and then cut your throat.
Yep.
So
Make
that's
you vulnerable.
yeah. So I'll fuck myself here and be creative, and I'll go Metallica, Bullet, Polaris,
Grab the condom.
do a Seinfeld rip.
Protect yourself.
Oh fuck.
I'm back, bitches.
I got a Second Amendment right to buy Trojans.
So go ahead and give me your personal.
Yeah, so my personal
Mount
Mount
Rushmore.
Rushmore of metal, and there's I think I'm going to put this band on there, but one would be Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
2 would be Killswitch.
Mm-hmm.
3 would be Polaris.
Yep.
Talked about it ad nauseum.
Yep. Ooh, I think I know where you're gonna go at 4.
Fuck, it's between 2 other bands. It's between 2 other bands. Fuck me, I just put it.
Is one Chevelle? They're not metal.
No, it's not Chevelle. So it's either
That is not metal.
it is, and I know I have to
They
decide.
scream more than Breaking Benjamin.
I've talked about how All That Remains.
Really?
I've talked about how All That Remains filled that void for me when I needed it more. For some reason, they did it more for me at the time than in As I Lay Dying. Probably right there with Killswitch, but for a time, I was into All That Remains more than I was Killswitch.
And today, I think it's the opposite. for
Yes,
you.
it is.
More
It
Kill
is.
Switch.
Um,
Especially the new shit. I mean, let's be real.
the one that I would put on the side,
You can do 5. I'll let you do 5.
yeah, the one that I would put on the side, and you might look at me like I'm stupid, but
We
Of-
do that a lot.
I'm used to it. They
Poor
filled
bastard.
that.
Guitars.
There
Poor
was a certain
bastard.
time they filled that void for me. Same as a Metallica, same as a Polaris, same as a All That Remains, same as a Killswitch. Issues,
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I take no issue
bro.
with that.
The self-titled Issues album, and then Headspace.
Headspace
bro,
was
I
better, I
remember
think.
losing my.
Ooh, I don't know.
fucking-
King of Amarillo make
Princeton Ave. Yeah, Personality Cult.
Yeah.
It's
No,
Issues
I
are All
get
That
it.
Remains.
I get
Issues
it.
is out here. It's All That Remains. It's Polaris. It's Killswitch, and it's Metallica.
That's fair.
Yep.
Tyler, your personal Mount Rushmore. And again, YouTube listeners,
So
Please
I kind of
comment.
please
Please
comment
give
your Mount
feedback.
Rushmore. I want to know, and we will talk about it on a future episode. We will debate your guys'.
And tell us we're fucking stupid.
Tell us we're
Bring it
stupid
on.
shit. We don't care. We got thick skin.
I mean,
Words don't
we are
offend
the
us.
Screaming idiots.
We are the screaming idiots.
I mean, I'll cry, but whatever.
Look,
I won't. I don't
I
get
don't
offended by a
know,
word.
because I tailored mine so much towards like personal preference. I
Yeah.
don't know that I would change it much.
Sure, that's fair.
If I had to go off of what kind of influenced me the most,
Thrice.
and
They're
I
not
wouldn't
metal.
call them.
They're not metal.
Yeah, they're more punk than metal. Man, I'd probably I would definitely keep Deftones up there.
Valid.
I would say A Day to Remember stays up there.
Also valid.
Because anytime I'm in a bad mood
Oh, they'll
and
take
I
you out of
need
it.
to I need something that can help me kind of release some shit but also lift me up.
Mm-hmm.
It's A Day to Remember every time.
They'll pull you right out of it, bro.
Oh yeah. And then I'd have to throw Under Oath up there.
Okay.
Just because I didn't like much of their stuff. I think it was like their first album. They might have done 2 albums with the original Screamer. But when they added when they changed that lineup and got a new Screamer and started doing, I think there was 3 or 4 albums there that I'll never skip. It's no skip, and God, they influenced me musically so much.
Spit it out. You having a stroke?
Trying to think of number 4.
You need another skinny?
You know, I might kind of cop out here and throw Polaris up there.
It's not a cop out. You're very
I know
Malls?
they're not my. They're number 2 on my list for metalcore, but I've noticed that I'm pulling more influence musically from them than I do from Moths. And we're starting to see that with some of the newer shit that we're writing.
Yeah.
Mainly because of you like to riff in that manner.
That 7-string riff that you sent Tyler Heide the other day was like Polaris all over again, bro.
I try to be Ryan, bro.
You need to let me. Speaking of that, you keep telling me that I can borrow that. You need to let me.
Yeah, I got you.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
I got you. Come over
But,
and get that motherfucker when you want it.
I don't. I think what gravitates me towards them the most out of all the metalcore bands is because they have some hardcore vibes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's funny because when you're an educated metal fan, right, you can concede that, hey, although this band X might not be my number 1, band Y is my number 2, 3, 4, whatever, but they influence me a little more just because of a certain element, I'm going to put them on my Mount Rushmore because of that. It just means you're an educated metal fan, bro. It's not saying that Moths isn't as good as Polaris or vice whatever. It's just saying, hey, when I'm sitting here and I think about my personal music influence, I'm tending today to gravitate more. And your Mount Rushmore could change tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I think what I struggle with so much with these conversations is, out of the 3 of us, I am definitely the least educated when it comes to metal. Because before I met you guys, the metal bands I listened to, there was new metal. I was definitely a new metal fan. I was listening to Deftones, Korn, Limp Bizkit,
Under Oath.
And then you get into some of the metalcore, kind of the emo shit, like Under Oath and stuff. And I was exposed to
Under Oath emo.
They got some emo vibes.
They were definitely more of the emo vibe early
Fair
on.
enough. I'm not as educated on them as you are, by any means.
Yeah, but you like them.
I do like them. I do like them.
So I was exposed to some of that, and I was exposed to some of the crabcore, but I didn't really get into it that much at that time. And then as time progresses, you throw in a little bit of Mice and Men. I mean, you got Slipknot in there back in the new metal days. Like, I had listened to metal, but metal was not the primary thing I listened to. The primary thing I listened to was alternative rock and hard rock. And as time progressed, I went a little bit wide with the alternative side of things. I got into punk, I got into pop punk, hardcore, things like that. But I just don't feel like I am as educated on metal as you guys are, because you guys have been listening to metal in a very dedicated fashion for years and years and years. Whereas for me, I've probably been, I can consider myself a dedicated metal fan for only the last maybe 4 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Where like metal is something I'm listening to on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hard time with it. I'm still going back and, hitting up bands that, came out in the early 2000s, 2010s, all that kind of shit. And I still run across bands that to me are new, but I look at when the shit was released and it would be like 2005 or fucking 2010 and shit. And I'm like, why did I not know about this?
And another example, probably because the recent single has kind of reinvigorated us, but we talked about, if I'm not mistaken, on one of the last few episodes, we talked about Silent Planet. And you're sending that album the other day, or don't know. My
I think
days
it
are-
was yesterday I was
Yeah.
listening to
Bro,
one of their
that
albums.
album is a ripper, and it came out in 2016.
Yep.
I didn't start listening to Silent Planet until probably 2019, 2020, I think.
I think it was about 2020
Yeah.
because I think you had sent me a couple songs from them, and then shortly after I ended up going to that concert with them and Currents.
And Greyhaven.
And Greyhaven was there, but I missed them, which pissed me off. But those two bands, and when I seen Silent Planet live, I was instantly hooked.
Yeah.
That's when I started diving into their discography, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude, this is new metal reinvigorated.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's kind of why I have a little bit of issue with their new single, man. I'm like, man, this isn't very.
But it's fucking good.
It's
dude.
a great
It's
song.
I'm
fucking
sorry, which
good.
one? You talking about Silent Planet?
Yeah.
Anti or antimatter.
It's an amazing song. It to me just isn't.
Does dude
The
just have the
Silent
one
Planet.
scream though?
He's got a little bit
Kind
of
of.
range, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
I feel like he does a good job of staying.
Which we talked
In the
about.
range?
Tyler specifically.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just talked about that earlier. Not
Yeah.
stepping outside yourself.
Stay in that pocket,
Right.
man.
If you can always grow the pocket, but if you're not,
Jamie, right now,
oh, he's growing I mean, yeah.
Jamie's stepping out of his
He-
comfort zone.
But he's
staying.
he figured out how to do it
Yeah.
right without sounding
Yep.
like shit.
And even Jake.
Go listen to Dichotomy and then go listen to Nightmare. And you're like, whoa, is that the same guy? Yeah, it's the same guy.
10, 11, 12 years later.
10, 13 to.
So cool to see, bro.
Yeah.
So fucking cool
Yeah.
to see.
So, no, that was a cool conversation. So, now I think it's time, since it's just the three of us, and we like to dip back into the earlier season roots every now and then and do some shit that got us going in the first place. And we're going to do a little bit of heavy metal hot takes.
And we do apologize for maybe getting away from this section or part of the show that you all know and love. But we also want it to be.
We don't want to be
wanna
repetitive.
overdo it.
Yeah, no.
we don't
well,
want
and
to overdo it.
we don't want we don't want to be repetitive for one, and it's also tough. Like when we have a guest on, listen, that is their episode. We
It's
want
theirs.
them to talk,
Yeah.
and we tell that to every guest that comes on the show. It's, hey, this is your episode. You talk about what the fuck you want to talk about.
And we'll piggyback.
We'll piggyback off of it.
Yeah.
We never want to take a guest down a road that they don't really care to go down. So it's cool when we get to do the solo episodes where it's just us, the hosts, and we can kind of dip back into these conversations that are debatable and maybe somewhat controversial and create some, topics for discussion for the listeners. And this is when we get to go back and do heavy metal hot takes. And I think we all have some decent ones. Who wants to go first? I've got one. I know you got one.
I got two.
You got two?
I don't have one yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go with your
I'll
first
go
one?
with one
Okay,
first.
go ahead.
And I'm glad because you sparked it for me. Tyler has mentioned novelists this show. And this will probably be very controversial to a lot.
I think we've got several tonight that mine's super controversial.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Flo from Novelist writes,
Guitarist, by the way.
guitarist, lead guitarist from Novelist, writes the absolute best solos in metal music.
In metal?
In specifically metalcore.
Well, not many dudes are writing solos in metalcore. You got to think about that. So if you want to make it a hot topic,
Let me think back.
hot
Hold
take.
on. I'm thinking, you know what?
old
No.
metalcore,
No, dude,
there was a lot more
for
solos.
me, and I know this is subjective, but it's how it's affected me as a musician and as a listener of music. I can honestly say Flo from Novelist is my favorite solo writer in metal music, and I think he writes the best solos in fucking metal music.
So I really want to disagree with you. I really want to. I really want to say Page from Bullet. I really want to. And then I think about Monochrome solo. And I'm like, oh.
Have you ever listened to 512
Yeah,
AM
512 a.m. That's another one. I think Monochrome's better, in my opinion. Just personally.
Solo-wise, probably, yes.
Monochrome solo speaks a little more to me.
And we've talked, and this is my personal preference.
We don't
and
like super
Kyler's
shreddy
too.
solos.
I prefer melody.
We prefer
solos.
melodic solos.
Yes.
Super shreddy ones are
I
cool.
want to hear
here's
the
the thing,
guitar
man.
cry.
Here's the thing.
Why do you think we love Stevie Ray Vaughan, bro?
To just shred out a solo, all you're showing is that you can play fast.
Which
All right?
I give props.
All you're doing
I
is
can't,
just
I can't shred.
for
me
those
neither.
on YouTube. You're doing this.
You're doing this.
Bro, it's not that easy though.
It's
No.
not that
No.
easy,
It's
but
not.
like
No.
there's no
I'm a good
texture to
guitarist
it.
and I can't.
There's
Oh,
no
dude, I can't.
rhythm
Yeah.
to it. It's just this straight, just
Noise.
Like I
To
don't
you.
fucking want that, man.
Tyler
There's-
Heidi will disagree. 100%.
Yeah,
Because
but
he's a Sinister
wrong.
Gates fan.
He's a shredder.
He's wrong, but
Love you, bro. But Tyler says you're wrong.
you're fired. But anyway,
I'm
I
back.
listening
I'm hired
to
again.
listening back through Novelist
You're on the
today.
t-shirt
I
already,
have
bro.
I have no ability to disagree with
Anataris,
you.
or however you pronounce that
because-
solo.
Yeah, Anataris.
While listening through, the only thing on my mind was musically, these guys are like the most elite in the game.
Ooh.
And listening to not even just the solos, the leads
Ye-
throughout the
yes,
songs,
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
like, oh, the phrasing, bro. The phrasing.
Bro, the solo on their one of their newer songs with dude from Alaskan.
But like
Yeah.
the fact is, he's hitting some of that shreddy stuff throughout, but
And
he's
he's
throwing
making
it
it
in
cry.
tastefully. He's not just killing your fucking eardrums with it. It's not like listening to a 30 fucking minute solo from Zakk Wylde. I'm sorry if you love that. If I
there's
Or
no more-
paid,
Sinister Gates.
The No More Tears solo.
There is some musicality to Sinister, but
look, all I'm
But yeah,
saying
no more
is if
Tears
I go
solo.
to a concert, I don't want to listen to Zakk Wylde just hit a bunch of hammer-on
I want to see you
tap-ons
stand
and,
up on that
you know,
box
pull-offs and all that shit for like
and make the
30
guitar
eyes
cry
closed
and make
your
it
head
cry.
back.
Yes.
Okay.
There's got to be some feeling to
Yes.
it, man, and you don't get that with the shreddy stuff.
So this is where I
least
will
we
credit. This is where I will credit hair metal.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
One
Yes.
of my favorite genres of music growing up was hair metal for one very specific reason was the riffs were easy to play. And I was a 14-year-old, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid just learning to play guitar, and I could play a lot of hair metal songs because the riffs were easy to play. I could play the solos too because they were melodic. They were go listen to anything by Dokken or anything by Whitesnake
Rat.
or Rat or Bon Jovi. You go listen to any of those solos, especially on the more ballady shit. There's a song by Queensryche off of their concept album Operation Mindcrime called Eyes of a Stranger. I mean, I remember the
Love
whole
it.
solo, but it's a that solo is hard as fuck to play. I tried to play it the other day, and I'm like, it's going to take me time because it's way harder than it sounds. But anyways, the melodic solos always spoke to me far, far more.
Yep.
Than if I'm sitting there watching Gary Moore play Empty Rooms live, and that motherfucker looks like he's having a seizure while he's playing this song, that's feel. Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. You go to all these classic guitarists,
Joe Bonamassa.
Joe Bonamassa, George Lynch, Joe Satriani.
He was kind of a shredder though, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, not Joe Satriani. I'm sorry. Warren D. Martini. I could go on. Oh fuck, what's his name from?
Where from?
He was with Ozzy on the Bark with the Moon album.
What the fuck is his
Oh
name?
god, Jake E. Lee.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's so many, even a lot of Dimebag stuff like Floods and Cemetery Gates.
Yeah. Yep.
All of Kirk stuff on the Black album, like
Kirk stuff
Unforgiven,
on the Unforgiven 3.
all of the Unforgivens.
Yeah.
Kirk
yeah.
stuff on Fade to Black.
Yeah. Yep.
Jesus Christ. So I always preferred the more melodic solos. So for me to sit here and say that there's a guitarist that does solos better than Flo, I can't. Today. Am I going to sit here and tell you that Flo's the best ever in metal? Absolutely not.
He's my favorite. Yeah.
So
Solo writer.
if we're thinking of in terms of solos of all time, no. I go listen to George Lynch's solo on the song Alone Again. It's better than anything Flo's ever done.
Yeah, I guess for me, and it's personal.
And that
it's
song came out in
personal. It's
1985.
obviously subjective. But listeners, before you react, especially if you're into metalcore, and that might be why I love his solos so much, is because he's able to incorporate it into
a
metalcore
song. Yep.
Please go listen to Souvenirs.
Monochrome.
Souvenirs by Novelist, that whole album, and listen to the solos on that album, and then listen to Noir. Listen to the solos on that album, because I promise you, if you're into melodic type guitar solos that also have some shred, I promise you they do.
But I think
He's the real
all
fucking deal.
all three of us are in agreement that melodic solos are elite.
Feel
right?
based, bro. It's
yeah,
feel.
man.
I mean, if you're
And
giving me
you
a
can,
pick,
you can be melodic about some shreddiness, but like if you're going,
well,
to
you talked about phrasing.
yeah, if you're going to be
Yeah.
a little shreddy, be tasteful about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can play fast, but
Yeah.
make it make sense.
Yep.
Don't
Right.
do it just to do it.
Yep.
Don't. And this is going to
Don't
sound.
just hit a pentatonic scale real quick, like real fast. It's
Listen,
there's no
I love
feel.
Megadeth. Find me one other than maybe is the Tornado of Souls solo kind
I'd
of.
have to re-listen.
But find me one real pretty solo.
Yeah.
That's cool. You can play fast. I can't. You're a better guitarist than me. I don't care.
Well, and when we say pretty, to me, it doesn't. The song doesn't have to be a ballad by any means. It has to flow with what you're doing in the song and give me that feeling of holy fucking shit.
Make me feel it, man. Make that solo my favorite part of this song.
Like even here we go, dick riding again, dude. Ryan's solo in Inhumane, even though that song isn't super melodic or anything like that, the shit he does in that solo, it's not just shredding the whole fucking time.
No.
It's not. It
He's
is very
taking advantage
shreddy.
of the key.
It is very
Yes.
shreddy by all means, but there's feel involved.
Yeah. So I would think I would disagree that all time when it comes to flow, but I would agree that anything modern, he
Yeah.
does write the best
Yeah.
solos.
I
would agree with
I think
that.
he's the best, bro.
So, okay, Tyler, do you have a hot take, or do you want me to go ahead with mine?
Go ahead with yours, because I'm drawing a blank.
That's fine. You don't have to come up with one, bro. You always come with bangers. You don't. You can take a week off. It's all good. So
I haven't
sent,
done a hot take in a while.
I sent you guys this one in the chat, and Preston, I think, called it a red hot take. Rain by Sleep Token is arguably the best lyrical song ever written. When I listen to the lyrics in Rain, and I really just focus on the vocals, I really focus on what Vessel was saying, that shit hits me so fucking hard and makes me think on a spiritual, interdimensional level that I'm like, how the
Motherfuckers being sent to different dimensions.
fuck did he? It's like I'm on an edible when I'm stone cold sober, and it's how did he come up with these words and put them in a sentence in sequence and make them make sense?
All right, I gotta.
Are you about to? He's about to look up.
So yeah, I looked up the lyrics. And you guys know from past shows that for some reason I don't get into lyrics a whole lot. I get into the feel of the music.
Sure.
I don't have a reference.
In particular, I'm speaking
To combat it?
The piece where he's actually kind of rapping. It's that chemical cut that I can get down with, up like the moon and out like the hounds. That part in particular, that just absolutely sent me to a whole nother world.
Yeah.
And there's so many songs out there that I think have a lot of great lyrical value, but for some, Distance is one of them.
Yeah.
For some reason, Rain hit me so hard when I listened to it for the first time, and each time that I listen to it, I'm like, fuck me, dude. Those lyrics just hit so hard, and you can interpret them however you want. And I think that's what's great about that song is you can. As a matter of fact, I think the entire "Take Me Back to Eden" song you can interpret in so many different ways. And that's what's so brilliant about it. You know, people might not be crazy about the music itself of that album, but if you really focus vocally and lyrically, fuck around. I mean, it just. Whew.
Speaking of lyrically, and I'm not going to take us down a track here, but for me, I feel like I need the lyrics to be kind of obvious to me, like what they're trying to portray across.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of retarded.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
like
I said the R word twice.
when I'm trying to decipher through certain lyrics,
Canceled.
especially like a Sleep Token
If you get
song,
offended by a word, you don't need to be listening to our show.
like when I'm trying to decipher lyrics of specifically like a Sleep Token song, it like I was trying to understand it. Like even at the
Yeah.
end of the song, I'm
You
like,
have to think.
what does he mean now? And I do see where
You
it's coming
skinny,
from.
bro?
But a song lyrically
Love you.
that has hit me recently,
You're my best friend.
and it's
You're also my best friend.
Hey, I love you.
a song lyrically that hit me, and it's more obvious. And I'll thank Tyler forever for getting me back into him.
It's the Barney theme
It's
song.
almost that obvious, but is Happy by NF. That song lyrically
Never heard it.
brought me to fucking tears, bro.
It takes a
brought me
lot to
fucking
make you
tears.
emotional
It
too,
did,
so
bro.
that
It
tells
hit
me something.
It hit me on a Friday morning at like 6:20 one morning.
I don't
Ain't
know
no
if
damn-
it's the bourbon
ain't no
or
damn
the
rap
Bro,
song
that
ever got to
fucking-
me, bro.
dude.
That is one of my favorite songs I've ever fucking
So I guess
heard.
I can relate in the sense of some country songs have hit me like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple Cody Johnson songs that have really hit me hard. There's a song by Cody Johnson called "By Your Grace."
That's a great song.
Yeah, you know what I'm
love
talking
that
about.
song.
It's a gospel song, and
Yep.
every time I hear that song, I mean, I like get cold
Yep.
chills, and it's such an incredible written song. This is why I like guys like Cody Johnson. And
Yeah.
there's a couple Morgan Wallen songs that really, and maybe it's how amazing Morgan's voice is and the way that he's able to portray some lyrics that they might not mean a ton, but the way that he's able to vocalize them, I'm just like, ugh. There's another artist called Bailey Zimmerman that I'm sure a ton of people have heard about, that a lot of his songs are really hard hitting and deep hitting and relatable. So I can't relate to it from a rap sense because I don't listen to any of that, but I can relate to it from a country standpoint, that there's a lot of good.
Happy is more pop though. Almost.
Sure, and it might be.
Almost, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't listen to it.
I promise you would if you would give it a chance. Whew,
I heard
Tyler,
one
I
or two of
promise.
his songs, and he
If
reminded
you-
me of Logic, and I wanted to punch
He's
him in
kind
the
of
face.
Logic like,
And I
but
wanted
if
to punch
you
him in the
give
fucking
Happy a
face.
chance, bro.
I'm just his voice is annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
To be completely fair with you, and people listening to this might be like, "Well, your voice is annoying as fuck." And yeah, well, it might be, but fuck you, don't listen then.
So,
I'm a screaming idiot. What do you expect?
Yeah, look at the name of the show, bro. My fucking cartoon face is on the logo. Eat a bag of dicks. What do you want me to? What do you want from me?
Do I look fat in the dress? No, then fuck you.
I do, but you don't.
so
Tell that fat kid to shut up.
Bringing it back to Rain for a moment.
Yeah, you dick. You pulled it away from my hot take.
I did, but I had to. I'm just thinking of a song lyrically that hit
I'm
me.
gonna go down that way too. We're
Okay.
gonna go there. Okay, so bringing it back to Rain. So one thing I've noticed while listening to Sleep Token, now that I do that,
I've accepted that.
Check
I've
season
accepted
3
that.
if you haven't caught up.
I focus more when I listen to music on the music. What stands out to me normally is either really good lines or really bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so normally if like lyrics aren't jumping out at me, it's a good thing. Because normally what I hear is like some really cheesy shit, and I'm just like, I can't do it.
Dance, Gavin, dance.
There's a song, or there's a band, I think it's Sent by Ravens or something like that. That I've
Isn't that the
shared
one-
in the
isn't
group
that the
chat.
They're
And
fucking
it was like,
sweet.
I wanted to love them.
Yeah.
Isn't that
so
the one
much,
that Tyler Heidi was talking about?
No, that's
No.
a different one. That's a different one.
but like I wanted to love them so much because the music was good.
The music is
The
legit.
songs, like the way they were put together and stuff, were good. The sound was good, but like the lyrics were so bad. And I was like, I just can't do it. When I listen to Sleep Token, things that jump out at me are really good lyrics. And it happens in like every song. When we had the conversation about Sleep Token, that was one of the things you brought up, is just that lyrically, dude is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of skimmed through the lyrics on Rain real quick, and I had to kind of listen to it again to remember what the song was, which song it was. And that song hits me every time it comes on.
Same.
The whole song, the way it's put together, going from, some light piano stuff, breaking
some
into
hip-hop
some
vibes
heavier
to
shit
it.
later
And
on,
then some heavier
hip-hop
shit. Yeah.
stuff in the middle. Like, it is an amazing song. Do I memorize lyrics well enough to say that that song lyrically is the best out there, or arguably the best? I can't really say that, but I'm not going to argue with you about it, because
Sure.
lyrically, I would say lyrically, Sleep Token is probably one of the best bands out there.
They don't mess around.
No.
At the moment, in current times, lyrically they're amazing.
And again, we talk about YouTubers in the comments. Hey, give
Let
us
us
other bands
know,
that
yeah.
you think are great lyrically.
Yeah.
Like,
We'll listen to them.
we will give us all the suggestions you can. We are always looking for some new topics to talk about on the show, new bands to talk about.
I mean,
And think-
we talk about the same bands all the time, even though we
'Cause they're
feel like our
great.
musical palette is wide. Open our eyes a little bit more. Bring it on.
Yeah, but I think part of the issue of me not knowing much of the lyrics is I'm often driving when I'm listening to music. I don't often get to just chill in the garage and listen to music. You know what I mean? So I know like Apple Music has the option to pull up the lyrics and read the lyrics as they're going in the song. I don't get to do that very often. So yeah, I can't really disagree with the point there, the hot take. Bringing it back to what you were talking about with Happy.
You're gonna get me emotional in this fucking episode, especially.
I'm gonna
after
wait for
last
Kyler
week.
to come back to dive into it too much.
I just hope he gives it
But
a chance, bro.
I was never into rap. The only rapper I'd ever really listened to was Kid Cudi, because in high school I'd get high as fuck and listen to Kid Cudi because most of my friends were doing it, and for whatever reason I just vibed with it. They were using instruments, even though it was very electronic, and he was kind of lyrical. He wasn't just talking about bullshit all the time.
Yeah, he was.
It was when I was managing Verizon stores. I had an employee. He came to me and asked for a particular day off, and I was like, well, I gotta ask, what's the day off for? It's a Saturday. I expect everyone to be here. He said he was going to a concert. I was like, well, I'm never going to say no to a concert, so I'll give you the day off. Who you going to go see? And he's like, NF. I was like, I've never heard of him. He's like, dude, do you like Eminem? And I was like, I'll listen to it, but I don't really listen to rap much. And he was like, dude, check out NF. He doesn't say like the N-word every other word. He doesn't fill his content with cuss words. He doesn't cuss at all.
Yep.
He considers himself a Christian rapper, and he's talking about real shit. And I was like, all right, man. I'll give it a try.
he's straight edge, bro.
Yeah, he's straight edge, bro. But he told me to look up the first album, and I was like, all right. So on the way home that day, I was listening to it, and I was blown away by the lyrics from this guy. Like, NF is lyrically a fucking genius. I'm going to go ahead and say that he's a lyrical genius, which in my mind, that's all rappers really have. So why the fuck do so many rappers suck at lyrics?
Yeah.
They're like, my flow's so sick, dog. And I'm like, yeah, but you repeated that 50 times.
Yep.
Your song sucks.
I think there's a level of flow that really matters, but lyrically,
Well, you got to have
more
a certain
important.
flow
Yeah.
and be rhythmic and shit. But with the song Happy,
Oh
when
my
I
God,
first
bro.
heard it, man, because it brought me to tears too. I've been on a very, very tough mental health journey for a very long time. You know, started when I was in the Navy, and I've never fully recovered. And there's been thoughts at times where I'm like, I wonder if it's just that I don't want to recover. Because for so much of my life, this is just how I think. This is just how I am. I don't know who I'd be without this. And at the end of his chorus, let me pull this up real quick. If I
No,
can
I'm
fucking
not crying.
find
My
it.
eyebrow itches.
It's
Y'all ever had an eyebrow itch?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
oh, where are we at? Damn it. Where's the fucking chorus? Yeah, the truth is I need help, but I just can't imagine who I'd be if I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first heard that line in the chorus, it struck that chord because I've come back to this thought so many times of like, I almost thrive in this depressive state because it's just all I've ever known. I can think of moments in my life where I can say I have felt some level of true happiness. But I can't say that I've ever lived happy. I've never lived a happy life. I've never went through a whole day and said, you know what, God damn, I am happy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It is little moments in time that I can say that I've been happy. You know, kids being born, certain moments with the kids, you know, certain little memories with family and stuff like that, certain memories with friends. But it's always these little snippets, right? And I know another part of it is we kind of had this conversation before around music, where it's like so many artists are driven and influenced by these negative thoughts, these negative feelings that they have, and they're expected to relive that every time they play the songs.
Mm.
And it's almost like when they make it and they're out of that struggle bus, so to speak.
But are they?
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cut. You know, they've reached their goals, or you know, life isn't as hard as it once was. It's like, you know, a lot of them seem to lose that steam that once drove them. And I've thought about that musically before because I'm like, could I really do what I do musically if I was happy? And so when I heard that song, dude, it just struck a chord in me where I have to come to a realization that there's a certain part of me that's held myself back from, you know, fully recovering from, you know, things like depression and anxiety and, you know, things like that. It's, you know, I can't dispute it. And
Yeah.
you know, recently I went out and, you know, was seeking help for some things and trying to get better. And even there, I found myself resisting certain things because it's almost like I don't know who the fuck I'd be.
It goes back to, don't take offense to this because I've
Bring
been where you're at. You can't help people that aren't willing to help themselves. For the
Yep.
longest time, I was that.
Mhm.
Just like, hey, my life sucks and it's never going to get any better and I'm just going to be this forever. And bro, that's a hard asshole to do. You got a real fucking small shovel to get out of that bitch when you're in it. And it's tough, man. So I get it. Trust me. I get it. I was lucky enough to get out of it. But it took a lot of testicular fortitude, I guess is the way that I would put that. Because it ain't easy, and it damn sure ain't fun trying to get out of it. It ain't fun being in it, and it sure as hell ain't fun getting out of it.
Yeah, and I would also say, you and I once had conversations around, relationship based, which is like,
You talking about when we would come home from the bar
and
we would listen to
Boys
this
of
and
Fall
Boys of Fall and cry about how we were single and nobody was ever going to love us.
But it was like, I told you, I'm like, you have to be comfortable with your own
Yourself
company,
being alone.
have
being
to,
alone
bro.
in a room before you
have
can.
Bro, I just gave
offer
somebody
yourself.
that advice like 2 weeks ago.
I love that.
I literally just
did
gave,
it help him?
I hope so. I hope it did. I really
fucking
hope it did.
so. But the premise was really just like you have to be. It is not your partner's job to make you happy.
No.
It is
Fuck
not
no, it
your
isn't.
partner's job
No.
to like.
It's not your job to make them
Right.
happy either.
No.
Exactly, and
Nope.
so
It's y'all's
You have
job to
to
be happy
find-
together.
Yep.
you have to find a way to be happy yourself, and then share that happiness.
Correct.
And so, one of the reasons I have, stayed single so long is I still have a hard time, feeling comfortable with, who I am and, being alone in my company, alone, because when I am alone and in my own company and it's just me, my mind typically doesn't gravitate towards happy thoughts.
Here's something I'm going to say to all the ears and eyes and everything out there. If you're a miserable fucking person, don't bring somebody else down into your misery with you.
You better not.
Because you know what? I used to be that guy that did that because I couldn't stand to be alone and I wasn't happy with myself and I would seek happiness in,
Things.
how do I put this without sounding vulgar, in some girl's, some woman's
Yep.
heart, basically.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then be dragging them down into my misery, and that's not fair to them. That's not fair to me.
selfish.
That's not. It is incredibly, and I think a lot of that comes with maturity. But
Absolutely.
don't drag people into your misery. Get
Right.
yourself healthy and love yourself. Be comfortable in your own headspace. Be comfortable being alone. Wow, we just turned into the Dr. Phil show.
Well, I
Before
think,
you ever consider being in a relationship.
I think it's so important, and I haven't delved deep into this, truly got into these thoughts very deep on this show, as maybe you two have before. But, and Kyler, maybe you can relate. Tyler, years ago, maybe you can relate. But now that I'm a parent now, even though I felt as if all these years I've been truly working on myself as an individual and my own personal development, I feel it is kind of my duty as a parent to not bring any sort of baggage toward my child. And I've realized as of late, they're with myself, and maybe some listeners can relate, maybe they can't, and that's great if you can't. There's some deep-rooted issues that I have myself that I need to eliminate before it becomes a problem, and either my child sees them and adopts them, or is a part of them, or is a byproduct of those deep-rooted issues. And what I mean by that is I'm somewhat of a selfish individual. And Tyler, me and you have had these conversations before. How do I want to word this? Because I'm never good at putting these things into words. You got me mind blank for a second.
You're
So,
sometimes
while
a
you're-
selfish individual.
Yeah.
and yeah.
While you're thinking about that, you talked about becoming a parent. And this whole topic, and I don't even know how we got here, but
The song "Happy" by NF, bro.
yeah, which was from Rain by Sleep Token. But
I got my I got what I was after, but
go ahead.
no, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to the song "Happy," if you listen to it, you'll delve deep into it, and maybe some will relate. But I'm very critical of myself, and man, we talked about in our group chat recently that we're all extremely prideful, and there's a certain
and I've got a song like that.
Yeah, there's not a certain image that any of us are after, but there's a certain level of success that we're all after as
We
men.
all expect of ourselves.
Yes, I know that this will sound arrogant when I say this, but I know that I'm a very talented individual. I know that I bring value to the world, and there's times and places where I get to a point where like I'm stuck and I'm like, I'm not doing what I was meant to do, which is provide a certain, whatever way there is a positive impact on somebody's life. And when I heard the song "Happy," it hit me so hard that there were issues that I didn't even realize that I had before, even though maybe I had scratched the surface of. And that song has made me...
Aggressive propel.
Yeah, that motherfucker is about to blow the roof off his
Propel was busted. This ain't even a carbonated drink. Fucking hell, that bitch was...
Jesus. There's a part of me that song motivated
That bitch
me.
said...
It did. Jesus. That song
came out
motivated
faster
me
than I was
to a
expecting.
point where I have to dig deep into certain things about myself that I have to eliminate and I have to get rid of in order to be that person that I know I either can be or that I am, if that makes any sense.
I'm all wet now. I'm all wet.
Fucking soaked.
I'm seeping. That propel came out way quicker than I was expecting. But anyways, you mentioned being a parent. And one thing that I have noticed, and I'm very proud of myself for this, and it's a personal growth thing for me. Bro, before I had kids, I am horrible. I am not a great people person. If I'm doing something for my job and then I have to wait on somebody to do something so I can complete my task, I'm fucking furious.
Yep.
I want it done now. I don't want it done 10 minutes from now. I want it done now. I don't care what you have. And that's a horrible trait of mine. I get that other people have other tasks to do so I can accomplish mine. It is what it is. But if something went wrong in my day, whether it was work related, whether it was my fucking truck broke down, whatever it might be, my whole day was shot. Whole day. I'm pissed off the rest of the day. I'm done. I'm cooked. Don't talk to me. I'm pissed. If it happened at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm not fine until 10 o'clock the next day. Then I had my son. And I have noticed that now, bro, it's 5 minutes and I'm over it. If something and I might bitch about it for real hardcore for that 5 minutes. And typically it's involving somebody else. There's one thing that I cannot stand that will absolutely piss me off to no end, and it's if you drive the fucking speed limit. I fucking hate you. Drive faster. I drive a Ram. I'm one of those guys. Yes, I drive a lifted truck. I will have my
If you're
fucking
not doing like
80.
Yeah.
No, you better be doing at least
If you're not breaking
60.
the law, if you're not willing to lose your license, stay off the road.
Yeah, I'm that guy. But anyways. So I used to, like I said, I have noticed that ever since I've had my son that things that used to piss me off and ruin my whole day now only last about 5 minutes. I'm going to be pissed for those 5 minutes, but I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go in the garage. If I'm not at home, it doesn't matter anyways. If I'm in my office, I make it go away because I don't want my kid to see me mad.
When you come home and you see that kid fucking smiling,
it's gone.
See
ya. I walk in the door and dad, and he's wanting me to pick him up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't get mad anymore, or don't stay mad anymore. I'm human. We all get mad. I still get mad. I still get mad about the same things, And it's normally always shit that's out of my control. And I guess maybe I'm a control freak. I don't ever want anything to go wrong. I want everything to work flawless. I want my day to go perfectly, just like anybody else. When I'm trying to accomplish a task for one of my customers and I have to rely on somebody else to help me complete this task, whether it's something on the, our data science team or something, I need some data or something like that, and I have to wait on somebody else, I'm furious. I'm still waiting on an email from somebody on our GIS team that I sent at noon today. Still waiting on it. Pissed off about it. But I don't let my kids see that.
Yeah.
It's a personal growth thing. I don't ever want my kid to see me pissed off at something like that.
Bro,
and that growth that I've noticed in myself.
I'm guilty of it with my wife, where I project these things.
Yeah, I mean, I am too.
Project these things onto her, and then after I do it, I'm like, I'm just making her more stressed out.
Well, I do it too, bro.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, if I come home and the laundry didn't get switched from the washer to the dryer, I'm like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? And I'm like, bro, she's trying to take care of the kid and do all this. Why am I getting shitty about this? So I still catch myself doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get better at that. Because just like, I can't project my shit onto her.
It's selfish.
It's very selfish. And so it's all in steps, right? I notice progression in certain things. But I'll be the first to tell you, there's people out there that say you should put your spouse first and your kids second. And I get where they're coming from that standpoint, because you can always have another kid. Ain't nobody coming above my kid. No fucking body, bro. The bond that I have with that little boy, ain't no fucking way.
Yeah.
I love my woman to death. She is the best mom in the world. She is the best partner in the world. We make a great team. We're great parents. I love our household. Our household is full of love and happiness, and we have our problems just like anybody else. There ain't anything in the world that I would do for her, but if they're both hanging off a fucking cliff and I can only save one, I'm saving my kid. I might be in the minority there, but the people say, oh, you can always have another kid, but you only have one soulmate. I don't care. And baby, I love you, so don't take this the wrong way. Don't take this the wrong way, but if I can only save one,
be a soulmate to have a baby.
If I can only save one of you, I'm saving my boy, our boy, okay? And you would want me to do that, so. But it's just, man, I'm telling you, I was the guy that said, I ain't never fucking having kids, and now I got one, and it's like, yep, that's my whole world. That's my whole fucking personality, bro.
But it's like, and I know we delved and did a big circle around this
yeah,
piece.
I feel like we should probably get back to music.
And I do apologize.
I'm sorry. I hope you guys take something from this. We don't.
Yeah, I just that song, it made me realize there was a part of me that already realized, like, had crept in my mind that something's a little off or something needs worked on. But that song, yeah, seriously.
No, I mean, it's just like, wow, there's certain songs I listen to, I'm like, wow, I might be a piece of shit.
I mean, I'm a very big advocate of your own personal development, and it's something I've worked out a long time.
He basically wants to be a life coach.
You know, at some point,
good life coach.
At some point, I maybe
you'd be a good life coach.
But that song,
me not so much.
Yeah, that song one day broke me down to a point where I was like, "There's things I got to work on." So, if you guys get a chance, if the listeners get a chance, I don't want to put you in an emotional state by any means, but if you want to listen to a song that'll hit you to your core potentially, listen to "Happy" by NF. I promise you. Tyler promises you.
Or Rain.
Kyler, give it a chance.
Or Rain by Sleep
Give
Token.
it a chance. And then Rain, lyrically, woo-hoo.
I'm the worst person to give life advice because I
don't know that I'm the best in it either.
I'm like a well-documented dick. Like, I'm terrible about
There's documentation.
I fully admit, like, I fully admit that I am not the biggest empath at all. Mm-hmm. I came from an upbringing of no one cares, work harder.
Yep.
Don't be a bitch.
Yep.
Like, no one feels sorry for you. I've never in my life wanted
That's what I
someone to
came
feel
from.
sorry for me.
That's what I
So
came
I
from.
don't feel sorry for anybody out there
Yeah.
that's in a situation because of their own. Because I have put myself in my life, I have put myself in situations where I have put myself in a bad situation. And I was never the, oh, woe is me. Oh, the God hates me. No. I did this to myself. I don't need sympathy or empathy or help from anyone at all because I did this to me. I'm going to unfuck this.
Yeah, I'm going to sulk
I
for
fucked
myself a little
myself.
bit.
I'm going to unfuck myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to sulk and I'm going to feel sorry for myself for a hot minute. And then I'm going to go, no one cares, work harder.
Yep.
So I am like the people that are, there's people out there that are just, I'm oppressed and my life sucks and no one helps me and all this shit. And I'm like, you know what? We live in the greatest country in the world. You can do something to improve your situation. It doesn't matter if it takes 50 fucking years. You can little by little improve your life. I do not feel sorry for most people in the world. And like I said, a lot of people think that makes me a dick, and that's fine. I don't care. Because I think that everyone has the ability to do better for themselves, do better than their parents who did better than their grandparents. Who you can always do better. If your parents treated you like shit, you can break the cycle. If you come from a family of alcoholics, you can break the cycle and be better. If you come from a family of drug addicts, you can break the cycle and be better.
Yep.
If you come from your daddy beat the hell out of your mama, you can do better. You can always break the cycle of something and do better. So when I think about personal growth and you talk about how happy, kind of makes you think about personal growth, everybody listening out there, you might think that I'm an asshole and that's fine, but I come from tough love, right? And that's what I'm trying to convey to you is no one cares, work harder. You can do it. You have it in you. Whatever goal it is that you have set for yourself or you want to set for yourself, you can fucking do it. So yeah, my message comes off as dickheadish, but I promise you it's all in the spirit of you can do it. I don't care how big of a goal or how unattainable it may seem, you can fucking do it. I'm a first generation college student in my family. Not a single person in my family graduated with a bachelor's degree from college. Nobody. I was the first one. I could do it, and I did it. No one in my family was making the money that I was making at 25 and now at 28. I did it. I worked hard for it. You can do it. You set your goals. You set your mind to something, and always have. And Preston, you and I have had this conversation so many times over the past decade or so. Is goal setting and always wanting to achieve something more. When you accomplish something, you set another goal. You know what I mean? You're always striving for greatness. And greatness is a loose term. Whatever an individual defines, if your definition of success is working at Walmart and getting a promotion to the head of the technology department, making 25, I don't know what they make, but I'm just saying that's your goal in life, fucking do it, bro. I don't care what your goal is. Work for it. Set a goal, work for it, achieve it. That's my whole thought process with this personal growth piece. And again, it all relates back to lyrical impact and things like that. And songs like, Happy for You, Rain by Sleep Token, By Your Grace by Cody Johnson. We just touched 3 different genres there. There's all something
I think the bourbon hit us at once.
Hell, I haven't been drinking bourbon for an hour and a half.
So this shit's real, people.
Buddy, it takes half a bottle of bourbon to give me a buzz. So.
Yeah, it takes me one fucking glass.
So everybody listening out there, if you think I'm a dick, that's fine. But I hope I do motivate you in some sense of, hey, set a goal, work hard, achieve it. And if you're at a low point in your life, you can get out of it. You can do it.
Metal will get you out of it.
Metal will absolutely get you out of it. And if you need suggestions, reach out to us. We got you.
We got plenty of it.
So that was a long loop. Long loop.
Big one. I apologize.
You did say you had one more hot take. Do you want to hit that real quick?
Maybe a quick one.
How
we doing?
We're at 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Right. Cool. 2.5 is our average.
So we haven't talked about album of the year a whole lot this year. and we're
Probably because we're not through it yet. But that'll be
we're 8 months in.
That'll be an awesome conversation to have in December, though. I can tell you that when we're doing season 7 by then.
So just
6,
to
7.
provide an update, we haven't talked about it a whole lot on this show. We have talked about Invent Animate.
Mm-hmm.
We've hyped him up quite a bit.
Currents.
You got Currents album that dropped, Invent Animate, Veil of Maya.
Prada.
Was Greyhaven's album this year? No, it was
Prada.
last year. Devil Wears Prada, their album.
Did you say Veil of Maya?
Veil of Maya.
Yeah.
Who else? is
Sleep
dropping?
Token.
Sleep Token. Yep. Yep.
There's been a lot. Yeah. And then obviously
There's
more
been
to
quite a
come
few.
with Polaris.
Yep.
Stellar Circuits.
Oh,
that
Stellar,
record.
yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
been a lot of great
Yeah.
records come out. So that just plays into your point more. Go ahead.
So maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's not, but my hot take is that Johnny Booth's most recent album, Moments Elsewhere, thus far, 8 months into the year,
August
is out-
9th.
Yep, is album of the year for me. And reason being, I don't know what to categorize them as, and I don't give a fuck. This is a band that's taken me, Jesus.
Taking you back to Eden.
Taking me, oh shit. About a year, maybe year and a half to get into.
For years, I thought Johnny Booth was just a guy.
It's a band I've liked. I've never disliked them by any means, but this most recent album, it's a banger. And I think the reason for me it is album of the year thus far is because it is elements of what I love, but it is different. And then if you go through the album, there are enough songs to break up the monotony of the structured rage that the album is. That is my hot take.
Dad.
I can't really disagree because thus far, Johnny Booth's album when it dropped, dude. I remember that Friday going into work, I was telling guys at work like I could fucking fight an elephant right now and win.
It is that good.
There was so much rage to it, but at the same time, it kind of spans several genres. Certain songs had, different elements to it. Like the one song had more of that shoegaze.
Yep.
They had one song that was very punky.
Bright Future.
They had songs that kind of were closer to metalcore, and then other songs that were closer to hardcore.
But the production.
The
Oh my
production, Jesus. Has any other album this year touched it, production-wise?
I mean, that is fully released. Maybe Invent's album. Maybe. And Invent's, that was I wasn't sure where I was going to go with the hot take because Invent Animate's new album to me is fucking amazing, and I think Kyler loves it as well. But Johnny Booth, I think it's taken the cake for me thus far.
And I think when we were sharing it to you, you were kind of in that lull there where you just weren't.
Yeah,
loving
I
music.
can't really comment on this hot take because I was going through that lull. And
You had said something about being sick of the down-tuned guitars.
Yeah,
like
I
had
listened to a
mentioned
couple
before.
songs and I was like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and and I actually said before the show, I've got to
That's
go back
what it
and
is. It's the
re-listen.
first few songs that are that way, and then it opens
I was gonna
up.
say the first couple
Yep.
songs are pretty well like that down-tuned,
Sludgy.
kind of
Yep.
hardcore kind of thing. But then as the album progresses, it just goes into different elements of different like subgenres. And,
Sure.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I can't really comment on it right now because I definitely, like I said, I was in that kind of lull where I was pretty exclusively podcasting at that point. And matter of fact, I think that Friday I was kind of in a grumpy mood that morning. Can't remember why, but I'm pretty sure
Probably
I
'cause
was.
we woke you up with a bunch of messages.
Every Friday. No, these motherfuckers are up at 4 o'clock in the morning every Friday, so I always wake up to probably 20, 25 messages in the morning when I get up at 6:30. So, but I'm used to that. I don't hear it anyways. I barely hear my goddamn alarm. But no, so I can't really comment on it from that standpoint because the first couple songs that I listened to, I was out on. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about because this shit's, I've heard it a million times. But it's something that I need to dive back into and maybe something I'll do later this week. So I can't really say that. When I think about album of the year so far, I can promise you right now there's nothing that's going to touch this Polaris record. But if it's anything like the first two singles,
hasn't dropped.
That Invent record is outstanding.
It is really good,
the Currents
bro.
record for me is incredible. I still am super into the new Currents record. The Sleep
I've
Token
only
records.
downloaded one song from that record.
You're not a huge fan
Two
of it.
songs. Remember Me and So Long.
The Sleep Token record's incredible. I wasn't super into the Stellar Circuit stuff. But I do need to give the Johnny Booth thing another look. Now that I'm kind of out of that musical lull, if you will. So I can't really contest or agree.
I think it has to be on the right day when that album will hit you.
And that's why I struggle with certain music, because I'm like, if it's that good, it shouldn't have to be a certain day.
I see what you
know
mean.
what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's that good,
Yeah.
it should just fucking hit me.
Yeah, I get you.
And I guess it just comes back to musical taste and musical preference.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that on the show before, how you, and I word it kind of, in a jokingly way where you're like, you'll let a song rape
Documented
you.
dick.
I'm
No,
a
I do.
well-documented dick.
Like, 'cause
you'll let a certain
whether
band
it's
rape
the
you
YouTube
over and
community
over.
that I'm so immersed
Like
in,
you
that,
could
like,
listen to that new
forces
Avenged
it.
Sevenfold record enough times that you would like it.
Probably not as bad as it was from what I heard.
So,
but I see what
there's
you
so
mean.
many songs you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it took me like 6 months to listen to it or to get into it, but now
It
it's
just
like
takes
it's
certain
great.
days and time frames.
And I've never been that guy. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
yeah.
I will say that I will agree with the production standpoint. The first couple songs I listened to, their production was insane.
It put a hole in my fucking chest.
But I'll tell you right now, the first couple songs I listened to and again, man, I think that Holding Absence's new stuff's better.
It's going to be a good
I think
album.
that
but they
Invent's
fucked
new
up.
stuff is better.
Oof.
On the record. I'm not going to compare Sleep Token to it because they're two completely different things. Sleep Token's kind of on its own island. But yeah, I'm going to give it another listen and we'll revisit that topic once I've done that and give it a fair shake because I don't want to be unfair to it. So,
I hope that you find the day and the mood that it hits you, bro, because
I need the old lady to give me a little booty before is that?
I don't know, because I don't remember being mad or pissed off the day it dropped and losing my cool to it.
Fair enough. Okay, well, in the spirit of going back to our roots a little bit and doing some of the original segments that we did in season 1 and all that before we were having a bunch of guests on,
Oh,
I
had
have
another fucking hot take. I'm sorry.
Save it for the
We
next
can
one.
save it for the next one. That's
You'll forget
completely
it.
fine.
So I got a band I want to talk
No,
about.
I think I'll remember it.
You want to go first? You want me to go
Go
first?
ahead.
So, we like to do, when we get the chance to do up and coming band shout outs, and I came across one on TikTok the other day that really, really kind of blew me away from the standpoint of these dudes are in fucking high school in Wyoming. And
Beautiful.
You already know they're angry.
I mean, Wyoming's cool as fuck, but yeah, I mean, there's nobody. I mean, I can't imagine that the Wyoming metal scene is pretty, it's not, I'm sure it's not what ours is out here,
No.
The band is called Behold, Here's Poison. And this is a high school group that is really diving back into really old school metalcore. And their vocalist is absolutely fucking insane. I would compare him to a more refined Mitch Lucker from Suicide Silence.
Ooh.
I mean, the dude, and I heard one of their songs on TikTok, like the recorded version. I was like, yeah, you can make anything sound good on a record. But then I went and watched some of their live videos that they have playing like little shows and stuff like
Yep.
that. And I'm like, oh no, dude's really like that. Like he's like that. So check out Behold Here's Poison. They're on Apple Music. They're on Spotify. Young dudes, young dudes. I mean, they look like they're fucking 14, 15 years. They might be 16, 17. I don't know, but they're young. They're, like I said, they're still in high school as far as I know. And out there doing the damn thing, writing their own music and doing it at a really, really high level. So any chance we get to shout out some young guys out there, I'll take it.
You'll have to send that to me.
I will.
You piqued my interest at
I got
Suicide
you.
Silence.
I figured I would at Suicide Silence because dude, low-key like reminds me of Mitch Lucker. Like a more like his high pitched screams are better than Mitch Lucker's.
Ooh.
Yeah, his gutturals are very similar, but his high pitched screams are like better in my opinion than Mitch Lucker's. More refined.
Yep, you'll have to send it to
I
me.
will.
So something I wanted to chat about real quick. Band I've listened to for about a year or two now. At first, they seem kind of borderline hard rock, kind of metalcore. Like vocally, the past stuff didn't do a whole lot of screaming. But the musical aspect of it was pretty along the lines of metalcore. Maybe not the heaviest stuff out there, but it's kind of heavy. But they have a new album coming out, and the fuckers released 5 songs out of 13.
Oh Jesus!
Bastards. But The Word Alive.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hard
shit.
Reset.
Yep.
And I
Ooh,
have
I
been
think I have some of their new
vibing
stuff downloaded.
to
Slow
all
burn.
5
Slow Burn's
singles
a
they have
jam.
out there, but like Strange Love
I hate
has
that
a
song.
nasty breakdown.
What? You don't like Strange Love?
Strange love is pulling. No, I couldn't vibe with it.
Interesting.
I haven't given it enough tries.
That's the one
though.
with the nasty breakdown, though, right?
I can't remember the
Yes.
breakdown.
Yeah. So like
I haven't
that was
given it enough
that
tries.
shocked me because that's not what I expected from that band. And when they hit me with it, I was like, oh, they're getting heavy now. Okay, I'm in. And I don't know. I've just been really enjoying all 5 singles that they've released.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the album.
Me too.
I wanted to shout them out because I know they're not the most well-known band out there. But, I've one of the other albums from them I really loved. Let me pull this up real quick. Monomania, their last album, and then Violent Noise.
That's metal as fuck. Violent Noise, that's metal.
Yeah, I think one of their songs on that album, I
You won't
somewhat-
believe the song I have stuck in my head. You
I
would not
somewhat-
believe it.
I somewhat
Some
remember
fucking dad rock song.
Close.
you had sent a song in
band
the
I
group
hate.
chat, and it was a softer song, and you would like come to this realization that like the song doesn't have
That was
to
forever
be,
ago. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of what song that
the,
was.
The song doesn't have to be just this onslaught all the time for it to be a good song, because this was a pretty softer song that you
what
enjoyed.
Was that?
And I want to say it was off of this album, that or it was.
Was it a Word Alive song? You know what? Yeah, very well might. It was.
Yeah.
It was. Fuck.
And I don't remember which,
I don't remember which one it was.
But like, you had sent that, and I was like, man. At that time, I'd already been jamming that album, and I was like, yeah, dude, these guys rock. They're not super heavy, but the music's good.
Yep.
And I think anybody out there that is looking for kind of a change of pace should definitely look into them. And I'm again pretty excited for this album to drop.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining fucking 7 songs they got. Fuckers. They're probably gonna release another single before it
Tomorrow.
drops. Yeah.
So if we're doing music recommendations, we've briefly touched on this band. I don't have any like local or anything like underground that I've been listening to off the top of my head lately. But one thing I am excited about, due to a little bit of nostalgia, is Dying Wish's new album, and I believe it drops. I think it's November from what I remember, so it's a little ways away. But if you're into Kill Switch, but with some with a female vocalist, but some Kill Switch vibes, Dying Wishes. They just dropped a new single. I can't remember what it's called. I don't think it's as good as Torn From Your Silhouette, but it's still a damn good song, and the guitar tunes on it. I think I did, yeah. It's been a couple weeks.
Send it again, please.
I will. The guitar tones on this album, from what I've heard thus far, are absolutely gnarly, and I am extremely excited for this Dying Wish album coming up.
I hate myself right now for the song that I have stuck in my head.
What is it?
It's from a band that I fucking
I got
hate.
it. I got it.
If you
Band
can name
you
the
hate.
band, I'll
I got
be
it. Hold
impressed.
on.
A band you hate? Is it?
Shoot him in
Yeah, I said a band.
I
I said a band I hate, not a band I'm obsessed with.
So a band that you hate? Is it Avenged Sevenfold?
No,
Is
not
it-
no.
let's
There's
say, like,
Is it
do
of
you
Mice
need-
and Men?
no. I don't hate them. I just don't like their new stuff as well.
Dance
as their old
Gavin
stuff.
Dance.
No,
I'm trying
Do
to
you
think
hate
of
Dance
bands that
Gavin
you
Dance? No.
hate, man. I know there's a lot of them, but like,
I wouldn't say
It's
they're-
going to be obvious as soon as he fucking says it.
I'll play the song before I say it.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
do it.
It's the one song I like. Ready? God damn it.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Bro, they fucking rage, man. They rage.
That's the one song, one Beartooth song I liked enough to where I'm like, I want to know how to play that.
Dude, Bad Listener's a jam.
Because that's when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's fucking
Bad
like,
Listener's lyrical parts in the beginning, bro.
Their one song is
that album is actually
so
pretty good.
metal. It's like something about American Dream, but it's like I'll be banging my head till my
That's
brain
Bad
rots.
Listener.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be banging my head. He talks about, like,
Be banging my head.
till my, yeah. Yeah, bro.
I have that song stuck
That
in my head.
song,
I've had
that
it stuck
song
in
is
my
the
head
story of
all
my
day,
fucking
bro.
life.
I've listened to that song 10 times today because it's stuck in my fucking head. But anyways,
Guys, he's coming around on
I'm
Beartooth.
not coming around on Beartooth.
Uh-huh. Coming around
Matter
like
of
fucking
time.
Green Day.
Motherfucker's last name is Shomo. Kiss my ass.
He wears a bandana.
Legend.
Yeah,
Legend.
he wears a bandana. He wears a bandana like he's like Stephen Piercy from Rat. And I'm like,
He
That's
shop-
amazing.
You know he shops at a boutique.
Rat is amazing, but it's not 1984.
It can be.
I wish it was.
I'm glad it's not.
My life would be be in even more shambles if that were the case.
Same. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'd be wearing leather pants and leather socks.
Ashless chaps.
All chaps are assless, bro.
Oh,
Fucking idiot.
I don't ride bikes, so I don't know.
He said all chaps. I love when I hear people talk about assless chaps
be
because I'm
more
like, do you know what chaps are?
It would be more like, hey, these chaps
You're
have an ass.
supposed to, yeah, you're supposed to wear blue jeans under them, right?
We call these booty chaps because they actually got an ass covering.
Hey, man, these some assless chaps. Like, you mean fucking chaps, bro? Like, you're not reinventing the wheel here, okay? If you want to reinvent the wheel, you put it in listen
God,
here.
the
I got
skies
a,
are so blue. You mean like it's the sky?
I mean, I got a great idea. We're gonna put an ass in a pair of chaps. Then why would you wear chaps?
just wear pants.
Just wear pants, bro. You just created leather pants with fringes.
Oh God. Hey,
Oh, God.
I got some nice leather pants, by the way.
You do. You do.
I only got to ride with them a couple of times. They were too hot.
It was. Yeah, I could imagine that.
They really sealed in the flavor.
Here's a lot of duck sauce going on, bro. That shit was like Jello. You could scoop it.
I was like, yeah, if I wreck, I'll deal with the injuries before I do. Like, Oh God, these fans are going to cause me to wreck.
Before you deal with all the soupage.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, it'd be like a little seat puddle there.
Dick cheese. Yeah. Well, now that we've grossed out all the listeners to end the show, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the three of us just kind of getting back to our roots a little bit, riffing it, doing some old school segments, and we'll try to keep up with that when we get the chance to do solo episodes. So, thanks again to each and every one of you, guys and gals out there all across the country, all across the world. We appreciate each and every one of you. We love each and every one of you. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search the Screaming Idiots Show or type in at TSIS Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment on any of the topics that we've covered tonight. We always want to interact with you guys and get feedback. Give us a review. Any kind of wherever you may be listening, give us a review. If you want to give us a 1-star review, give us a 1-star review. All feedback is good feedback. So thanks to each and every one of y'all. Can't wait to bring you guys the final episode of Season 4 next week. Thank you. We love you. Until next time, we are the Screaming Idiots. See you next week.
Peace, love, dove.